Chapter 686. After going through the demigod Forgotten Garden, Zhao Feng's state of existence and soul power had reached a whole new level. This time, it was much easier for him to explore the ancient dream realm again. If I don't move, I can stay here for a day or two. Zhao Feng slowly walked forward. His eyes were filled with caution as he scanned the surroundings with his god's spiritual eye. Previously, he had encountered a powerful ancient demonic bird in the ancient dream realm. Any random demonic bird they encountered had an aura that was above the king level. He couldn't even estimate how strong the larger beings and some of the higher races were. Therefore, Zhao Feng was extremely careful and kept his guard up. Ta-ta, ta-ta. Zhao Feng's steps were steady, neither fast nor slow. If he was tired, he could sit down and rest. Breathing in the aura of the ancient dream realm had a cleansing effect on Zhao Feng's bloodline and even his soul. However, the effect of the ancient dream realm aura on Zhao Feng was starting to decrease, and it was becoming slower and slower. After all, Zhao Feng's state of existence and soul had both reached the king level. In front of him was a field of grass. There was a small river at the edge of the field. The grass was Zhao Feng's first target. Let's get to the grass first. Zhao Feng estimated that it would take 1,000 steps to reach the grass. 1,000 steps. If it was half a year ago, it would be extremely difficult for Zhao Feng. At that time, it would be good if he could walk 10 to 20 steps. But now, Zhao Feng's compatibility with the ancient dream realm had increased, and his soul was stronger. It shouldn't be a problem for him to walk a few hundred steps at once. 10 steps, 100 steps, 150 steps. Zhao Feng walked very carefully. At a certain moment, he saw a black dot flash across the sky. A sparrow? Zhao Feng paused. The sparrow flew across the sky. Its aura was strong, and although it wasn't as strong as the Yao bird, it was still comparable to a sovereign lord. At this moment, Zhao Feng's nerves tensed up, and his face was full of wariness. However, the sparrow ignored Zhao Feng and flew past him. It seems like the ancient dream realm is similar to reality. Not all living creatures are aggressive. Zhao Feng let out a sigh of relief. He quickened his pace a little. Afterward, his god's spiritual eye saw some other small life forms, such as ants and bugs. Their auras were incredibly powerful, which were at least comparable to the martial highness realm. These living beings are probably the weakest beings in the ancient dream realm. They haven't cultivated at all, but they already have such powerful auras. Zhao Feng's heart trembled. Of course, although these living beings were not as powerful as Zhao Feng, they were born and raised in the ancient dream realm, so they did not feel any repulsion. Zhao Feng's thoughts were all over the place, and he was full of doubts. What kind of world was the ancient dream realm? If it was a dream, why was the injury synchronized with reality? It was his consciousness that had entered, so why was the aura inside able to benefit from reality? Zhao Feng had a feeling. If he died in the ancient dream realm, then he would definitely die in reality. The ancient dream realm was just too weird. It was connected to the god's spiritual eye, so what kind of secrets did it have? With Zhao Feng's current level, he couldn't think of any of these questions. Let's not think about this for now. Let's see if I can get some other benefits. Zhao Feng retracted his thoughts. Just a sliver of the ancient dream realm's aura had such a huge effect. Then what about the other things inside? Let's see if I can find some fruits. Zhao Feng said. His god's spiritual eye scanned the area once again. Fruits could only be found in the forest. However, the environment of the forest was more complicated, and Zhao Feng could not guarantee that he wouldn't meet some aggressive living beings. Let's go to the river first. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye saw the river on the other side of the grass. He didn't know if the water in the ancient dream realm would have any effects if he drank it. Thinking about this, Zhao Feng's heart shook. However, to reach the river, he had to first reach the grass. The grass was close to 1,000 steps away from him. 200 steps, 300 steps. After walking a few hundred steps, Zhao Feng felt tired and his breathing quickened. Let's rest for a while. Zhao Feng wasn't in a rush and sat down cross-legged. He was still 700 to 800 steps away from the grass. From the grass to the river, it would take at least 10 times the distance. Sitting down cross-legged, Zhao Feng recovered his energy. Just at this moment, CSI, Zhao Feng heard a weird sound. He looked to the left and was instantly shocked. A 3-foot-long spotted snake was crawling leisurely as it spat out its tongue. Snake! Zhao Feng shuddered, and he was on full alert. In the ancient dream realm, just a sliver of aura was so strong. The living being inside was definitely not simple. Not to mention that it was a snake. As if sensing the unusual aura, the spotted snake suddenly straightened its body and raised its head, staring coldly at Zhao Feng. The two were less than 10 feet away from each other. At such a close distance, Zhao Feng felt a faint sense of danger. At this moment, Zhao Feng and the spotted snake faced each other. The aura of this snake is stronger than the sparrow, but it's weaker than the demonic bird. Zhao Feng thought. Buzz. Wisps of scarlet destruction wind lightning appeared on Zhao Feng's palm, which were as thick as a needle. He had no choice. In the ancient dream realm, his power was suppressed to the limit. Zhao Feng estimated that his scarlet destruction wind lightning would collapse after it left his body. No, I need a good weapon. An earth-grade sword appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. For the current Zhao Feng, normal earth-grade weapons weren't very valuable. His ability was comparable to a Void God Realm King, and it couldn't be measured using normal standards. This earth-grade sword was 4 to 5 feet long and was extremely sharp. With this earth-grade sword, Zhao Feng's confidence increased. At the very least, he didn't need to fight a snake with unknown venom with his fists. At the same time, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto the spotted snake. Slash! A sharp light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes as the earth-grade sword in his hand glowed with a scarlet light. The spotted snake's reaction wasn't slow either. So, it jumped into the air and bit toward Zhao Feng. In terms of speed, it was faster and more agile than Zhao Feng. After all, it was born in the ancient dream realm, so it didn't need to face the rejection of space. Zhao Feng's advantage was that he attacked first. His god's spiritual eye could also see the snake's movements. Therefore, even though Zhao Feng's speed and agility were slightly weaker, the earth-grade sword still landed heavily on the spotted snake's head. Ding! A strange sound came from the edge of the sword. Following this, a powerful force surged over and caused Zhao Feng's figure to sway slightly. At the same time, the spotted snake was knocked back by the sword. It let out a hiss as a shallow mark was left on its forehead. What a strong body! It wasn't easy for Zhao Feng to swing the sword. He had to face a certain amount of rejection and extra pressure in this dimension. Luckily, that sword also left a slight wound on the spotted snake. So, the spotted snake became ferocious and leapt toward Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng calmly opened his god's spiritual eye to the maximum and locked onto the spotted snake. A scarlet arc of light formed on the earth-grade sword. Bam! The long sword pierced through the air, heading straight for the snake's head. It immediately pierced into the snake's mouth. Zhao Feng's hand shook slightly. Luckily, the earth-grade sword had pierced into the snake's mouth, and the scarlet destruction wind lightning started to burn. SII. The spotted snake struggled with all its might. In the ancient dream realm, Zhao Feng's strength was greatly limited, and he wasn't strong enough to instantly kill it. Scarlet Destruction Eye Flame. With a thought from Zhao Feng, a transparent scarlet-colored flame of wind lightning the size of a thumb landed on the snake's head and started to spread. Snakes were afraid of fire, and this spotted snake was no exception. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's eye flame could pierce through both the physical and mental energy dimensions. A few breaths later, half of the spotted snake's body was burnt, and it stopped struggling. Extinguish. Zhao Feng walked over and extinguished the flames, then picked up the burnt snake's body. I wonder how effective this snake meat is, Zhao Feng murmured. The spotted snake's body was extremely strong, and it was influenced by the aura of the ancient dream realm. Shua. With a thought, Zhao Feng disappeared from the ancient dream realm. In the real world, the little thieving cat sat on him and started to absorb the remaining aura of the ancient dream realm. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws excitedly as it looked at the burnt snake meat. Little Kuan Yun. Zhao Feng didn't give the snake meat to the little thieving cat. Instead, He called out the child demigod. The child demigod was still around 3 years old, and a faint golden glow appeared on his skin. Zhao Feng knew that this demigod Kuan Yin was a body-strengthening expert when he was alive. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to keep his body intact after being struck by the God Tribulation lightning for so long. What kind of snake meat is this? The child demigod stared at the burnt snake and could feel the extraordinary aura coming from it. It's for you. Zhao Feng handed the spotted snake to the demigod Kuan Yin and told him to eat it in front of him. Although the child demigod was only around 3 years old, his body-strengthening abilities were extremely strong. He was even stronger than the skeletal division leader. Give it a try. The child demigod didn't dare to disobey, even though he knew that Zhao Feng was treating him like a lab rat. On the other hand, the little thieving cat looked at the snake meat with envy. The child demigod glanced at it smugly and took out a sharp dagger to cut the snake meat. So hard. The child demigod's eyebrows furrowed as he used all his strength to barely cut the snake meat. A while later, the child demigod took out a piece of snake meat and roasted it with fire. The smell of meat filled his nose. He carefully took a bite. The expression of the child demigod changed dramatically when the snake meat entered his stomach, and he immediately sat down and circulated his true yuan. This snake meat contains the origin aura of heaven and earth. Its flesh power is even stronger than the heart-blood essence of a sea whale. The child demigod was overjoyed. Just one bite of the snake meat was enough to increase his true yuan, body, and blood essence. Meow meow. The little thieving cat finally couldn't take it anymore and leaped toward the snake meat. This is mine, the child demigod said angrily as he fought with the little thieving cat over the remaining snake meat. In the end, the little thieving cat had the upper hand, and it split the remaining 2/3. The child demigod had a few claw marks on his face, but he didn't care about his image and ate the remaining snake meat. Zhao Feng had a weird expression as he watched the child demigod and the little thieving cat split the snake meat. Master, where did you get this snake meat? Is there more? The child demigod licked his lips. He found that the origin aura within the snake meat increased the recovery of his demigod bloodline. Meow meow. The little thieving cat was also interested, and its black eyes twinkled as it tried to please Zhao Feng. Chapter 687. Zhao Feng told the child demigod to eat the snake meat first because he wanted to use him as a lab rat. However, the snake meat from the ancient dream realm contained an aura of heaven and earth, as well as a strong fleshly aura. Zhao Feng ate a mouthful of the snake meat and felt it. Initial analysis. The fleshly aura contained within the snake meat was even stronger than the heart-blood essence. Apart from that, the aura from the ancient dream realm was extremely dense. My body has already absorbed too much of the aura from the ancient dream realm, and I've used the heart-blood essence, the purple scale grass, and the demigod's blood. The snake meat's effect on me is only SOSO. Zhao Feng circulated his true yuan to digest the fleshly aura within the snake meat. Although the snake meat was valuable, it also had its flaws. Firstly, it didn't have much an effect on those above the void god realm. Secondly, the snake meat was too hard and hard to digest. Those below the origin core realm might not be able to digest it. However, the child demigod and the little thieving cat couldn't be judged by normal standards. They could absorb the snake meat in a short amount of time. Master, this kind of snake meat can be refined into a spiritual blood core pill. Even those below the true spirit realm can easily absorb it. The child demigod suggested. Some of the ingredients that were hard to digest could be refined into pills that could increase the effect. Being a former demigod, the golden-skinned child knew how to refine pills. This kind of snake meat can only be found by luck. Zhao Feng shook his head faintly. He didn't want to expose the secret of the ancient dream realm. After all, this was a place that could bring many benefits to cultivation. The child demigod couldn't help but be disappointed. If he had a large amount of this meat, his life bloodline would recover faster. Meow meow. The little thieving cat glanced suspiciously at Zhao Feng, but it didn't say anything. It was extremely familiar with the aura of the snake meat. Zhao Feng didn't say anything else. He was wary of the child demigod. Master, a voice sounded from the 10,000 Ghost Pearl. This time, it was the skeletal division leader. After leaving the demigod Forgotten Garden, Zhao Feng had gathered a large amount of resources and given them to the skeletal division leader. Now, the skeletal division leader had successfully reached the Great Origin Core realm. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had given the skeletal division leader full control of the Ghost Corpse Curse Legion, including the Golden Skeleton. The 100 cursed corpses didn't pose much of a threat to kings. For Zhao Feng, it was better than nothing. Of course, after absorbing the essence of hundreds of primal core realms, the power of the cursed ghost corpses had increased dramatically, and it was almost unparalleled against those below the Void God realm. Master, ever since the curse of the 100 corpses absorbed the mysterious aura you injected into it, its potential has greatly increased. A few of them advanced to the Venerable realm. The skeletal division leader reported. Oh, Zhao Feng was greatly surprised. When he had sealed the Void Ocean Spiritual Palace, he had injected the aura of the ancient dream realm into each of the cursed ghost corpses. Unexpectedly, some of the cursed ghost corpses were gradually evolving to the venerable level. There were many factors involved in this. Firstly, the 100 cursed corpses had absorbed the souls and blood essence of too many rare beasts. Secondly, the aura of the ancient dream realm and the 10,000 Ghost Pearl had both helped. What do you think? Zhao Feng asked. Master, if you're willing to put in more resources and that mysterious aura, I believe the 100 cursed ghost corpses will be able to reach the Origin Core realm. At that time, the 100 cursed ghost corpses will be able to threaten kings. The skeletal division leader said. As Zhao Feng's strength increased, its value became smaller and smaller. It couldn't allow itself to lose its value. On the other hand, the 100 cursed ghost corpses were the only way to maintain its value. Hearing that, Zhao Feng started to think. If the 100 cursed ghost corpses all reached the Origin Core realm and devoured a few kings, their power would be enough to scare gods and ghosts. As for resources, Zhao Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Resources. He thought of the ancient dream realm. If the 100 cursed ghost corpses could devour the life forms in the ancient dream realm, the effect would be far greater than normal Origin Core realms. Furthermore, the life forms in the ancient dream realm contained an even stronger aura. Sure, I'll leave the details to you. Zhao Feng agreed. Originally, he wasn't very interested in the 100 cursed ghost corpses. However, it would be a waste if he didn't make use of the ancient dream realm. A while later, Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged, and his consciousness entered the ancient dream realm once more. Ancient dream realm. Zhao Feng appeared at his original position, and there were still traces of fighting with the snake. His target was the grass in front of him. Zhao Feng estimated that there would be more small animals near the grass. Of course, his next target was the river. The river was the source of water, and there should be some carnivores there. Zhao Feng was thinking about what effect the water in the ancient dream realm would have. After all, water was the source of life. On the way, Zhao Feng was still cautious. After this, when they met some small animals, such as bugs, snakes, squirrels, and rabbits, Zhao Feng would kill them. Zhao Feng found that the Eye of Ice Soul paired with the Scarlet Destruction Eye Flame was very effective. The Eye of Ice Soul greatly decreased the speed of the animals' thoughts. Although these animals had strong bodies, their soul strength was far weaker than Zhao Feng's. The Scarlet Destruction Eye Flame countered these animals. Zhao Feng would throw most of the corpses into the 10,000 Ghost Pearl. In the ancient dream realm, Zhao Feng could use interspatial items. Everything here was the same as in reality. Within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl, the auras of the cursed ghost corpses became stronger after devouring the small animals. On the first day, several cursed ghost corpses reached the Origin Core realm. These ghost corpses were all at the half-step Origin Core realm, and a few were at the Origin Core realm. Great! Within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl, the skeletal division leader was overjoyed and shocked. This speed of improvement was too fast. If this continued, all the cursed ghost corpses would reach the origin core realm in less than 10 days. At that time, the power of the ghost corpse cursed array would rise to a whole new level. Furthermore, the power of the flesh and blood was also beneficial to the skeletal division leader. Its bones and body would become stronger. On the third day, Zhao Feng successfully arrived at the grassy area. In reality, he had spent most of his time killing small animals over the past 2 days. After reaching the grassy area, Zhao Feng sped up. Let's go to the river first. Zhao Feng mainly wanted to see what the water in the ancient dream realm was capable of. However, the distance from the grassy area to the river was 10 times longer than before. On the way, Zhao Feng sped up. He wouldn't kill any small animals unless he bumped into them. On the 5th day after Zhao Feng entered the ancient dream realm, more than half of the cursed ghost corpses within the 10,000 Ghost Pearl had reached the origin core realm. The skeletal division leader trembled with excitement. Once it achieved its goal, the ghost corpse cursed array will be able to threaten even kings. On the 6th day, Zhao Feng walked to the edge of the grassy area. Whoosh, whoosh. There was a small river in front of him that was several yards wide. I'm finally here. Zhao Feng let out a long breath. Over the past few days, he had stayed in the ancient dream realm, and his bloodline had become stronger, even though it wasn't as strong as before. After reaching the river, Zhao Feng became more cautious and cautious. Since it was a water source, there would occasionally be some larger animals such as sheep, wolves, deer, etc. Some of the larger animals were harder for Zhao Feng to kill. If he met wolves, tigers, leopards, or dogs, he would be in danger. Luckily, Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye had a strong vision, so he tried to keep his distance from the more aggressive animals. Let's get some water first. Zhao Feng walked to the river and scanned the water with his god's spiritual eye. This was just a small river, and there were no large animals such as crocodiles, only some fish and prawns. Zhao Feng took out the green spiritual gourd and filled it with water. Right at this moment, a commotion broke out near the river. Some of the animals that were drinking water, such as cows, sheep, and deer, ran away in fear. Awoo! A wave of cold wolf howls came from afar, making one's heart go cold. Zhao Feng looked over and saw a pack of more than 10 wolves charging over with a bloodthirsty aura. These wolves had come to drink water and to kill nearby animals. Zhao Feng was also a target. Go! With a thought, Zhao Feng disappeared from the ancient dream realm. Every single one of these wolves was more than 10 times stronger than the spotted snakes from before. Furthermore, wolves were very good at teamwork. Zhao Feng's strength was suppressed in the ancient dream realm, so he would be at a disadvantage if he met a wolf pack. Within the room, Zhao Feng took out the green spiritual gourd. The little thieving cat sat on his shoulder, its eyes bright as it looked on. Zhao Feng smiled and gave the little thieving cat a bucket's worth of water. Gulu. The little thieving cat drank a few mouthfuls of the ancient dream realm water and instantly sat down to meditate. Zhao Feng also drank a mouthful and felt a cool sensation spread through his body. His ice water bloodline started to become restless as it absorbed the mysterious power within the ancient dream realm water. This water can nourish the body and is easier to absorb. Zhao Feng was surprised. The ancient dream realm water nourished his body and his bloodline. The effect was the same as his bloodline from before. However, the water was warm and easy to absorb. Zhao Feng drank large mouthfuls and found that his state of existence and bloodline were showing signs of increasing. The water in the ancient dream realm is comparable to some of the precious liquids in the fan universe. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. If he drank large amounts of this water for a long period of time, it would greatly benefit his bloodline and physique. Zhao Feng estimated that the value of a mouthful of this water was close to 1,000th of a drop of the demigod's blood. Of course, as the amount increased, the effect would decrease. Several days later, Zhao Feng didn't enter the ancient dream realm again. Apart from drinking the ancient dream realm water, he spent most of his energy comprehending and wearing down the intent of the Eye of Death. Several days later, A wisp of powerful intent and magnificent power appeared in the room that Zhao Feng was in. Boom! In the sky, the wind howled furiously. Lightning flashed and arcs of lightning crisscrossed, causing the nearby world to flicker between light and dark. The newly formed magnificent power seemed to be purposely being suppressed, and it only lasted for a few breaths before disappearing. However, this still attracted the attention of some kings from the mystic true sacred clan. My king intent has succeeded. Zhao Feng took a deep breath. He didn't use the remaining half a cup of illusion god wine and relied on himself to form his king intent. Because of his previous comprehension and his powerful soul, forming a complete king intent wasn't hard for him. At the same time, as Zhao Feng drank the dragon flame wine, lightning cloud wine, and large amounts of ancient dream realm water, the crystal core within his body reached the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. Chapter 688. After forming the king intent, Zhao Feng had reached a limit in every aspect, and it would be hard for him to break through in a short amount of time. His late-stage Great Origin Core realm cultivation was top-tier even amongst the geniuses of the sacred land. Apart from his true yuan cultivation, Zhao Feng's state of existence and soul were both at the king level or higher. At this moment in time, no less than 10 divine senses scanned over Zhao Feng's residence. No matter how low-key Zhao Feng tried, he couldn't completely hide the newly formed king intent. The owners of these divine senses sighed. A 23-year-old youth at the Great Origin Core realm had comprehended king intent. What kind of miracle was that? The potential that Zhao Feng displayed might have even surpassed the number one genius of the sacred land, Nan Gongsheng. Only Zhao Yufei, who had the spiritual race bloodline, could cultivate faster than Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng, you're improving very quickly, but there's only 10 days left before we leave. Duamu Qing's sigh sounded. Zhao Feng's strength was enough to challenge kings. However, even kings and emperors weren't able to survive the pursuit of death. Last 10 days. Zhao Feng nodded his head solemnly. There were only 10 days left until he was protected by the true martial sacred land. The true martial sacred land wasn't Zhao Feng's final destination. Floating dream, spiritual zone, sky sacred Qin palace. Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. If he could confirm Lu Qin's whereabouts, he wouldn't have much to worry about on his path of cultivation. The last 10 days, Zhao Feng officially came out of seclusion and stopped cultivating. Of course, the eye of death intent didn't stop wearing down. Zhao Feng coming out of seclusion attracted the attention of many members of the clan. That day, Zhao Feng's battle with Lei Zhan confirmed his position as the number one genius of the Tao of Lightning. Zhao Feng left the main spiritual peak after walking out of his residence. This was the first time Zhao Feng had left the territory of the clan after the demigod Forgotten Garden. Soon, Zhao Feng arrived at the Golden Mountain sect. He scanned the entire Golden Mountain sect with his divine sense without hesitation. Very soon, Zhao Feng saw Old Li, the blue-robed king, Li Yunya, Lulan Jishui, and the other sailors. Zhao Feng, the blue-robed king exclaimed as he sensed Zhao Feng's king divine sense. He was quite shocked. How long had it been? Was it even a year? Back then, the ant-like junior in his eyes had already formed a complete king's will. The void god realm was a transformation of the soul. As for Zhao Feng, the transformation and sublimation of his soul and intent had been completed ahead of time. The door to becoming a king had been completely opened for him. In less than a year or two, Zhao Feng would be able to become a king. After a while, in a side hall of the Golden Mountain sect, Zhao Feng, the blue-robed king, and the white-bearded elderly sat together and chatted. On this day, Zhao Feng was the most legendary genius in the true martial sacred land. He was the rising star. The disciple ceremony and the fight for the spots had finally shown his talent. The demigod Forgotten Garden had copied the thought process of thousands of years ago and conquered the mermaid kingdom to obtain the mermaid tears and illusion god wine. From then on, Zhao Feng's name spread across the entire sacred land. After the battle with Lei Jun, his potential surpassed the Wind Lightning Emperors, and his name spread across the entire sacred land. The blue-robed king and the white-bearded elderly sighed in their hearts. Zhao Feng was even scarier than the rumors. He had already formed King's will. A while later, the white-bearded elderly brought Zhao Feng to see Lulan Jishui, Li Yunya, and the other sailors. Zhao Feng, we've asked an array grandmaster to upgrade your blue lightning sea sky ship, the white-bearded elderly said with a smile. Although Zhao Feng had been staying in the main spiritual mountain, he had kept in contact with the white-bearded elderly. Captain, Lulan Jishui and Li Yunya seemed to want to say something. Zhao Feng smiled faintly as his eyes scanned over the two. He knew the situation very well. So, Lulan Jishui and Li Yunya had great potential, so they were quickly accepted into the Golden Mountain sect. Lulan Jishui became a rising genius of the Golden Mountain sect. Li Yunya also became a deacon of the Golden Mountain sect. The two of them had successfully integrated into the Sacred Land and the Golden Mountain sect. The 33 two-star sects in the true martial Sacred Land were all peak two-star sects, and they looked down on ordinary two-star sections. It was an honor to be able to enter the Sacred Land and become a member. It's up to you whether you want to stay or leave. I won't force you. Zhao Feng's expression was calm. Li Yunya didn't hesitate and decided to stay in the Golden Mountain sect. He couldn't go back to his old sect, so staying in the Sacred Land was his dream. Lulan Jishui had an ashamed and complicated expression as she glanced at Zhao Feng. The purple-haired youth in her eyes became unreachable. She had witnessed this man's miraculous growth in the past few years. The first time they met, he was still a blue-haired youth. Okay, I understand. Zhao Feng wasn't surprised or unhappy. Lulan Jishui's face went red as she lowered her head. At the very beginning, she had agreed to become a sailor on Zhao Feng's ship without any conditions. Now, this promise was about to expire. Skeletal Division Leader, from today onwards, you'll be the vice captain of the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship. Zhao Feng gently waved his hand. Shua, the Skeletal Division Leader appeared. Its bones were covered in dark golden lines, and its aura was several times stronger than before. Its aura even surpassed Li Yunya's. How is this possible? Li Yunya's heart jumped in disbelief. Not only had the Skeletal Division Leader broken through to the Sovereign Lord rank, its body had also reached the peak Sovereign Lord rank. It probably wouldn't find a match for anyone below the half-step Void God realm. Yes, Master. The Skeletal Division Leader laughed and took in the sailors of the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship. The size of the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship hadn't changed after being upgraded by the Array Master of the Sacred Land, but its overall strength had increased by several times. Because of this, Zhao Feng had given a lot of resources, and even Old Li felt his heartache. Let's go. Zhao Feng took the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship back to the mystic true Sacred Clan. Before he left, Zhao Feng gave Old Li 2 interspatial rings. One of these rings will be given to the eternally sealed Palace Lord. The other one will be given to the Golden Mountain sect. Old Li can give it to you. Old Li held the 2 rings in his hands. His divine sense merged into them, and he couldn't help but take in a cold breath. The treasures within the ring that was given to the eternally sealed Palace Lord were enough to make a king's eyes go red. Even the one given to him was worth more than a lifetime's worth of savings. Furthermore, according to Zhao Feng, this was just a small repayment. He still owed the eternally sealed Palace Lord a favor. I have to admit that you've made the wrong choice. Old Li's eyes scanned over Li Yunya and Lulan Jishui and sighed. Li Yunya and Lulan Jishui could tell from Old Li's expression how tempting the 2 rings were. One had to know. In their eyes, Old Li was an unreachable half-step Void God realm. Li Yunya and Lulan Jishui didn't receive any extra rewards. With Zhao Feng's help, they had a chance to enter the true martial Sacred Land. That was probably the best reward they could get. Back at the main spiritual peak, Zhao Feng reorganized the ship once more. The Skeletal Division Leader officially took over the Blue Lightning Sea Sky ship. Zhao Feng dismissed the sailors one by one. While paying them, he also provided them with some arrangements. Master, After I get used to it, I'll turn this ship into a ghost ship." The skeletal division leader laughed. Soon after, it became the vice captain, and some of the ghost corpses with intelligence became sailors. After so many years of fighting, the 10,000 Ghost Pearl had given birth to all kinds of ghosts, skeletons, ghosts, and so on. If he wanted to, Zhao Feng could even walk the path of the 10,000 Ghost Emperor and form a ghost corpse army. In the future, it wouldn't even be a dream for him to sweep across a 2-star sect. However, Zhao Feng wasn't very interested in the Tao of ghost corpses. His core was the wind, lightning, inheritance, and soul, eye bloodline techniques. He might as well give this to the skeletal division leader. Soon, 10 days slowly approached. Zhao Feng took care of all the small matters. The last 5 days. Now that Zhao Feng was prepared, he became more relaxed. He went to find in Gongsheng and asked to spar. Of course, Zhao Feng didn't want to fight in Gongsheng. He just wanted to talk about the principles of space. Zhao Feng's wings of wind and lightning had comprehended the lightning wings flying technique and used some of Nan Gongsheng's intent of space. However, Zhao Feng still needed to perfect the lightning wings flying technique and learn something from Nan Gongsheng through sparring. Nan Gongsheng didn't refuse. He was also very interested in Zhao Feng's intent of wind and lightning and his speed. In terms of speed, Nan Gongsheng wasn't as fast as Zhao Feng. The two spent 2 to 3 days sparring, and they both learned something. Zhao Feng's God Spiritual, I learned a lot from Nan Gongsheng's spatial techniques. The wings of wind and lightning also have some powerful lightning wings flying techniques that can allow one to travel 1,000 miles or even 10,000 miles in an instant. Zhao Feng thought the lightning wings flying technique was suitable for long-distance pursuits and life-saving. Back then, the Wind Lightning Emperor used this lightning wings flying technique to escape the pursuit of sacred lords. Back at his place, Zhao Feng took out the little thieving cat. The little thieving cat also had mysterious spatial techniques and specialized in concealment. In this regard, Zhao Feng wanted to learn from the little thieving cat. Meow meow. The little thieving cat's figure flashed and disappeared. The next instant, it appeared on the roof of the house. Its spatial techniques were related to the Tao of assassination and were usually silent and untraceable. Zhao Feng realized that the little thieving cat's spatial movement technique originated from its unique bloodline. It was related to darkness and shadow kill, so it surpassed normal spatial techniques. Even then, Zhao Feng learned a lot from the little thieving cat through the God's spiritual eye. After combining Nan Gongsheng, the little thieving cat, and the lightning wings flying technique from the wind lightning inheritance, Zhao Feng perfected it. If I succeed, my speed will rise to a new level. Zhao Feng slowly closed his eyes. The last 2 days, he closed his eyes and merged the intent of space into the spatial techniques. Slowly, an outline appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. When the wings of wind and lightning flapped at high speed, he would merge the spatial techniques into it. That way, in the process of flying, he realized the auxiliary propulsion of half-flight in order to break the shackles of space itself. It was like a lightning bird. The flying speed of a thunderbird was already the limit. If the space was compressed to 1/10 or 1/100th through the use of secret space magic, the speed would be increased by 10 times or even 100 times. This was the ideal level of the wings of wind and lightning. Lightning Wings Spatial Flash. Chapter 689. An outline of the Lightning Wings Spatial Flash appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Right now, he had only trained the Lightning Wings Wind Flash in the basics. The Lightning Wings Wind Flash was the representative flying technique of the wings of wind and lightning, and it contained the essence of speed within the wind-lightning inheritance. With the Lightning Wings Wind Flash, Zhao Feng was confident that his flying speed would be faster than many Void God Realm kings. Time passed by quickly. In the last 2 days, Zhao Feng comprehended the wings of wind and lightning while grinding away at the Eye of Death intent. 2 days later, Zhao Feng let out a long breath, put away the little thieving cat and the child demigod, and went to Emperor Duanmu's palace. The child demigod's improvement was shocking. and his cultivation had reached the late-stage Great Origin Core realm. This was only because Zhao Feng had restricted him in terms of flesh and blood. Emperor Duanmu's palace. Good, everyone's here. Duanmu Qing nodded his head faintly. Next to him stood Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. The three of them had taken care of everything and were just waiting to use the spiritual zone teleportation array. Let's go. With a thought, Emperor Duanmu's magnificent power covered Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. Shua. The next instant, the three of them disappeared from the main spiritual peak. What speed? Zhao Feng was surprised. Duanmu Qing took the two of them and left the territory of the mystic true sacred clan in one step. In Zhao Feng's senses, he felt as if he had switched dimensions. Void God realm emperors had reached the peak of the fulfillment realm. Their comprehension of heaven and earth and understanding of space surpassed normal kings. A breath or two later, Duanmu Qing and company landed on the 10,000 ancient sacred peak. The 10,000 ancient sacred peak was considered a neutral ground in the true martial sacred land, and many inheritances were left here. When Zhao Feng arrived, there was a 2-star power with hundreds of disciples here. There, Zhao Feng was a little surprised. Duanmu Qing looked around and explained, the ancestors of some 2-star sects left their inheritances on the myriad ancient sacred peak before they died. This will become the legacy of the sect's younger generation. Zhao Feng suddenly understood. He had vaguely heard of these stories when he first entered the Holy Land. Of course, these inheritances are nothing compared to top-secret realms like the demigod Forgotten Garden. Duanmu Qing said, there were no more than 3 inheritances or secret realms like the demigod Forgotten Garden. He ignored this 2-star sect. Martial Monarch Duanmu led the way and arrived at the base of the formation where the 8 pillars were located. Each of the 8 ancient bluestone pillars was 300 meters tall, and its surface was engraved with obscure and ancient runes. The runes of the array gave off a 3-dimensional feeling of overlapping space. Under Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye, he felt a sense of confusion. Obviously, these stone pillars were related to the profound mysteries of space. Emperor Duanmu. A voice sounded from the array of the stone pillars. Zhao Feng looked over and was slightly surprised. There was a void god realm king sitting on top of each stone pillar. Apart from that, there was also an elder with an ancient expression sitting at the center of the array. He was an emperor. An emperor and 8 kings were guarding the spiritual zone teleportation array. Sorry for the trouble, Duanmu Qing said with a smile and a gentle voice. The aged martial monarch nodded and left with a flicker. Next, Duanmu Qing took out 32 peak-grade primal crystal stones and placed them into the 8 stone pillars. The spiritual zone teleportation array is to stop experts from invading. Furthermore, there's a god crystal at the center of the array. Duanmu Qing explained some secrets to the two. There were 3 spiritual sacred lands in the Tsang Ocean, True Martial, Floating Dream, and Myriad Forest. The 3 spiritual sacred lands were connected by the spiritual zone teleportation array. Zhao Feng, Duanmu Qing, and Zhao Yufei headed in the same direction. After the Floating Dream spiritual zone, we'll go our separate ways. Duanmu Qing and company stood at the center of the array. Wang, on the 8 ancient bluestone pillars, a magnificent silver light burst out, enveloping the entire base of the formation platform. Duanmu Qing, Zhao Feng, and Zhao Yufei's figures started to fade and disappear. Let's go. On one of the stone pillars, a dark side king suddenly took out a command medallion and sent out a message. Right in the next instant, a shocking intent of death spread through the true martial sacred land. The strong, magnificent power of death made the hearts of some kings and emperors shake uneasily. What a strong aura of death! Some void god realm kings felt their souls become cold and uneasy. A few breaths later, in the air above the 10,000 ancient sacred peak, a figure wearing a dark golden crown stood. He was as tall as the shadow of death, ancient and profound. His pitch-black eyes were limitless like the abyss of death. Emperor of Death. The hearts of some ancient emperors within the sacred land shook as they exclaimed, "When did the Emperor of Death come to the true, martial, sacred land? He's hidden himself really well." Waves broke out in the sacred land. The Emperor of Death was an ancient emperor of the Tsang Ocean. "Master," Wen Luan bowed as he stood next to the Emperor of Death. Apart from him, the white-eyed girl, the 3 Death Spirit Lords, and 20 to 30 Death Guards were also present. This lineup was enough to sweep through some 2-star sects outside the sacred land. The corners of her eyes were red and sparkling. "Strangers?" "Yufei," Zhao Feng murmured. His usually calm heart felt a piercing pain that he had never felt before. That feeling was similar to the experience of love in the mermaid tear crystals. It was as if he had fallen into the beautiful or tragic love of the mermaid race. In his field of vision, Zhao Yufei seemed thin and frail, lonely and helpless. As Zhao Feng gazed at that familiar figure, he felt a slight struggle in his heart. He had an urge to rush forward and grab her tightly. "Meow meow." The little thieving cat jumped onto Zhao Feng's shoulder and threw a few copper coins with its paws as it urged. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly as he took out several peak-grade primal crystal stones. Before leaving, Zhao Feng had used a large amount of resources to trade for a small amount of peak-grade primal crystal stones. "Meow." The little thieving cat nimbly placed the 8 primal crystal stones into the array. "Wang." Zhao Feng was enveloped in the light of the array. "Yufei, we'll meet again in the future." Zhao Feng's decisive voice passed through the soul. The last scene. Zhao Yufei's stubborn figure didn't turn around. Her body trembled slightly. "Yufei, we're parting so that we can meet again. The Lord Dynasty is the true stage of the world. With Zhao Feng's potential, he'll come to the continent zone sooner or later." The purple Saint Partial Spirit's voice sounded. Soon, Duan Muqing and Zhao Yufei also disappeared in the light of the formation. Several breaths later, the Spirit Zone teleportation formation flashed with dazzling light. Immediately after, a terrifying aura of death surged toward them. The expressions of the experts guarding the Spiritual Zone teleportation array changed dramatically. The Emperor of Death's group appeared in the Spiritual Zone teleportation array. On the field, there was dead silence. They left. The Emperor of Death murmured as his eyes of death locked onto a king. "Art." The king's soul consciousness seemed to be restricted, and he couldn't even struggle or speak. "Where did that purple-haired male go?" Wen Luan asked warmly. "He went to the Sky Flower Zone." The Void God Realm King stuttered as he looked at the Emperor of Death uneasily. The Emperor of Death's name was a nightmare that covered the entire Tsang Ocean. "Follow." The Emperor of Death and company instantly activated the Spiritual Zone teleportation array and disappeared into the array. Emperor of Death. That terrifying guy actually came to the floating dream sacred land. Who knows what kind of storm he'll create? The kings said with fear in their hearts. A while later, the Emperor of Death's group appeared within the Sky Flower Void Ocean Spiritual Palace. Shua. An aura of death filled the entire Void Ocean Spiritual Palace. In that instant, the giant Void Ocean Spiritual Palace seemed to be covered by the shadow of death. All the experts froze as if they were petrified. What a huge move. Master used the power of death to seal the entire Void Ocean Spiritual Palace. Chapter 690. Sky Flower Island Zone, Void Ocean Spiritual Palace. The large spiritual palace was deathly silent, and the bodies of countless experts froze. The shadow of death covered all living beings. The Sky Flower Void Ocean Spiritual Palace Lord was a Void God Realm King, and his heart trembled uneasily. Emperor of Death. The Sky Flower Palace Lord held his breath and ordered the other enforcers not to act recklessly. From the looks of it, the Emperor of Death seemed to be searching for someone. At the same time, the divine senses of the 3 Death Spirit Lords also searched the surroundings. One of the Death Spirit Lords even used the soul-searching technique to investigate the enforcers near the Spirit Zone formation. "He's so fast." The Emperor of Death murmured. His intent of death spread across the entire void ocean spiritual palace, but he couldn't find any traces of Zhao Feng. Reporting to Emperor, Zhao Feng seemed to have a feeling that he used the wings of wind and lightning to enter the limitless ocean after arriving at the spiritual palace. The Death Spirit Lord said respectfully. He had used the soul-searching technique to find traces of Zhao Feng. The Emperor of Death closed his eyes and spread his divine sense. The void ocean spiritual palace was the center. 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles. The senses of emperors were limitless, and they could roam the universe. A few breaths later, the Emperor of Death's divine sense scanned everything within 10,000 miles, but he could only sense a few faint auras of wind and lightning lingering in the air, trying to destroy them. We can't even sense Zhao Feng's presence. Wenluan and the Death Guards held their token of death, but there were no signs. Their target seemed to have disappeared into thin air. The Emperor of Death stood on the spot, like a towering figure of the god of death. His divine sense reached 10,000 miles and searched for where the wisp of wind lightning had gone. His eyebrows suddenly furrowed. That wisp of residual wind and lightning aura suddenly split into more than a dozen strands and fled in different directions. As the distance grew further, the Emperor of Death's divine sense wasn't precise enough. In a limitless ocean, all auras would be assimilated. Cunning brat. The Emperor of Death's eyes were as cold as an abyss. Master, what do we do now? Wenluan asked. Zhao Feng's reaction was simply too fast. The speed of his lightning wings surpassed normal kings. Follow these directions. The Emperor of Death extended his hand, and a map appeared in front of him. The map displayed the map of the floating dream sacred land and quickly showed the area around the sky flower cluster zone. The Emperor of Death was able to roughly determine the direction that Zhao Feng was running in based on the aura of wind lightning. The Emperor of Death's bloodline was split into 5 teams. The Emperor of Death and the white-eyed girl formed a team. Wenluan led a team of Death Guards to form a team. The 3 Death Spirit Lords each led a team. The 5 teams chased after him in a general direction. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Emperor of Death and company soon disappeared from the void ocean spiritual palace. Who? It was only then that the Tianhua temple leader and the many geniuses who were passing by heaved a sigh of relief, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Tianhua Island Zone, somewhere in the Sea of Void. Thunderwing's wind flash. A faint red shadow of lightning wings swept across the limitless ocean like a bolt of lightning. Those below the half-step void god realm wouldn't even be able to see the outline of the shadow. What speed? In the nearby area, there were occasionally a few outer realm experts or ships that were traveling in the void. All of them were frightened. The speed and aura of the lightning wings were several times that of a king. The Thunderwing's wind flash was a secret technique of the wings of wind and lightning, and it pushed the speed of wind and lightning to the extreme. Bam! Bam! The wings of wind and lightning on Zhao Feng's back fluttered rapidly, and he was like a bolt of lightning. His current speed surpassed normal void god realm kings. However, using the Thunderwing's wind flash also expended a lot of energy. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng slowed down, and his figure blurred as he turned into 10 flashes of lightning. Each of them contained a wisp of his king intent, and their aura was the same as Zhao Feng's. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. These flashes of lightning flew in different directions, but it was hard to tell which one was real and which one was fake. Every 10,000 miles, Zhao Feng would split into several flashes of lightning. He estimated that each flashes of lightning could last for an hour. After all, these flashes of lightning had merged with Zhao Feng's king intent. While flying, Zhao Feng sealed the Soul Sea world to a certain degree. The Eye of Death intent was sealed off by his ice soul power and the 10,000 divine thoughts technique. That was correct. The Emperor of Death and company would find it hard to sense where Zhao Feng was. As long as I don't use any soul-type secret techniques or eye bloodline, the Emperor of Death and company won't be able to sense me. Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. At the end, he didn't even use his king intent or divine sense. Meow meow. The little thieving cat clung to his shoulder, its obsidian eyes occasionally turning and pointing in a direction. Back in the floating dream spiritual zone, it was because of the little thieving cat's divination that Zhao Feng was able to move as fast as possible and escape the Emperor of Death's pursuit. Lightning wings wind flash. The wings of wind and lightning on Zhao Feng's back fluttered as he flashed across the limitless ocean like a bolt of lightning. No one knew how long they flew for. The majority of Zhao Feng's true yuan had been used up, and exhaustion appeared on his face. As the flashes of lightning faded away, he put away his wings of wind and lightning and concealed his aura. Plop! Zhao Feng's figure entered the limitless ocean. Soon after, Gu, a dark silver ship covered in a ghostly aura, appeared in the limitless ocean. Skeletal Division Leader, you control the ship. The little thieving cat will decide the route. Zhao Feng returned to the captain's room and sat down. The Skeletal Division Leader controlled the ship, and the crew was made up of ghost corpses with intelligence. Understood, Master. The Skeletal Division Leader accepted the order. In the captain's room, Zhao Feng ate several spiritual pills and resources to recover his yuan qi. At the same time, he started to study the map of the floating dream sacred lands territory. Among them, the sky's sacred Qin Palace was dozens of island zones away from Zhao Feng. The Emperor of Death doesn't know my destination. Zhao Feng's eyes flickered. In order to prevent himself from being exposed, he decided not to go to any of the void ocean spiritual palaces since he didn't lack resources. Now that the blue sea sky ship had been refined by the Holy Land, its top speed was comparable to a half-step king. And at most a year, Zhao Feng's ship would arrive at the sky sacred Qin Palace. I used a secret technique to seal my soul sea. The Emperor of Death won't be able to sense me, so how can he track me? Zhao Feng sneered in his heart. His left eye and hair returned to their normal color. Master, if I confuse with a demigod's will, my strength will rise to a whole new level. At that time, I can also be of help to you. The child demigod crawled out of the ring. Its expression was solemn, but its voice was tender and childish, which was very comical. Let's wait a little longer. Zhao Feng shook his head. Right now, the child demigod's strength was at least comparable to a half-step king. If he merged with the demigod's intent, his strength would increase dramatically, and his recovery speed would also increase dramatically. Zhao Feng didn't let it get to his head. He had a certain amount of control over the child demigod's growth. He had a feeling that if he allowed the child demigod to grow, he would become even more of a threat than the Emperor of Death. After all, the child demigod was a demigod that had revived from a drop of blood. His growth couldn't be described as cultivation. It was a process of recovery. Once he had the demigod's intent and unlimited resources, it would only take a few years for the child demigod to recover to the strength of an emperor. In the limitless ocean, a few 100,000 miles away, it disappeared again. The Emperor of Death's eyebrows furrowed as he looked at the wisp of wind lightning that had disappeared. Not only was Zhao Feng fast, but he would also create several fake bodies with the same aura every time he flew. This way, it would be very difficult to track him through auras. Bai Lin. The Emperor of Death looked at the white-eyed girl next to him. The white-eyed girl had the Eye of Destiny. Although her eye bloodline wasn't very awakened, her ability to grasp destiny surpassed normal experts. This was also why the Emperor of Death had brought the white-eyed girl along. The white-eyed girl bit her finger and took out a brush as she looked at the blank piece of paper with furrowed eyebrows. After a long time, the white-eyed girl's face was pale white as she painstakingly drew a blurry musical instrument on the white paper. Qin. The Emperor of Death recognized the musical instrument. It was a qin. After drawing it, the white-eyed girl fell into a deep sleep. This time, the difficulty of grasping destiny was much greater than before. The stronger the target, the harder it was. Apart from that, the amount of information also affected the difficulty of grasping destiny. Qin. The Emperor of Death murmured as he thought for a long time. Qin was a musical instrument. It represented a clue. However, the problem was that this clue was too abstract. Did the zither represent the instrument itself, a person, or something else? Following this lead, the Emperor of Death continued to search, and he also ordered people to gather more information about the Qin. In the dusky sea of fog, a small to medium-sized void ship covered in a thick layer of death corpse energy flew through the air. That layer of death corpse chi blocked off the senses of anyone below half-step king realm. Pirate ship? The corrupt path's ghost corpse ship? The nearby ships and experts from the outer realms would all go around them. The ghost corpse ship's aura was terrifying. Even some pirate ships and large sex ships didn't dare to provoke them. Several days passed. The ghost ship was safe and sound. Zhao Feng's energy had long since recovered. During this time, he entered the ancient dream realm several times and brought out large amounts of flesh and blood to nurture the 100 corpse curse. The flesh and blood of the corpses in the ancient dream realm had a shocking effect on the cursed ghost corpses. On this day, the skeletal division leader's voice trembled with excitement. Master, the 100 corpse cursed ghost corpses have all become sovereigns. Hearing that, Zhao Feng revealed a joyful expression. Shua, the skeletal division leader, took out a sovereign cursed ghost corpse. The cursed ghost corpse was 3 zhang tall, and its body was emitting a primordial corpse aura. The curse power it emitted was 10 times stronger than before. It's even stronger than I imagined. Zhao Feng estimated that these sovereign cursed ghost corpses were almost unrivaled in the small origin core realm, and they could even challenge sovereign lords. Even sovereign lords would be in trouble if they were touched by the corpse-cursed ghost corpses. The array formed by 100 of these ghost corpses wasn't as simple as adding 1 to 100. The bodies of these ghost corpses are extremely strong, and they contain the aura from before. The child demigod's eyes flashed as he stared at the ghost corpse. He had long since suspected that Zhao Feng had that kind of flesh and blood. In reality, 100 ghost corpses had absorbed a shocking amount of this kind of flesh and blood. The child demigod just so happened to lack this kind of flesh and blood to recover his demigod bloodline. Let's make a deal. The child demigod's eyes twinkled as he stared at his master, Zhao Feng, with a serious expression. Chapter 691. Trait. Zhao Feng squinted his eyes as he stared at the child demigod with a childish voice. His expression was solemn, and he looked like he was only 2 or 3 years old. No one dared to underestimate the demigod Kun Yun, who had revived from a drop of blood. Zhao Feng couldn't help but laugh. Maybe you've forgotten our relationship. The master and the servant didn't have an equal status. Normally speaking, a trade was based on equality. Mockery appeared in the skeletal division leader's eyes as it curiously inspected the child demigod. It didn't know much about the child demigod's background. Back in the demigod Forgotten Garden, it was suppressed by the demigod intent and magnificent power of heaven and earth, so it didn't have a chance to come out. Of course, it didn't dare to underestimate the child. This child was only 3 years old, but his cultivation had reached the late-stage Great Origin Core realm and was on par with its master, Zhao Feng. No matter how stupid the skeletal division leader was, it wouldn't treat him like a child. I'm a demigod. Therefore, I have the right. Furthermore, you probably won't be able to reject my offer. The child demigod said proudly. Even if he was a servant and his life was threatened, he still had the pride of a demigod. Demigod. The skeletal division leader was stunned as it stared at the golden-skinned child. Zhao Feng had revived a demigod and taken him as a servant? This was insane. Compared to a demigod, the Scarlet Moon Patriarch and the Emperor of Death weren't even worth mentioning. The prerequisite is that your offer can truly attract me. Zhao Feng didn't reject it. He knew that the child demigod had recovered many of his memories as he recovered. First, I have a way to help Master increase the success rate of absorbing the divine tribulation lightning. The child demigod said, God Tribulation Lightning. A light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. The God Tribulation Lightning was a supreme power of heaven and earth that countered all beings in heaven and earth. If he could absorb some wisps of the God Tribulation lightning, Zhao Feng's strength would increase dramatically. There was one more thing. Comprehending the power of the lightning tribulation would be of great help when facing the deity tribulation in the future. In the depths of my memory, there is a set of thunderization divine art. Although it is incomplete, it is a supreme divine art that surpasses the five-elemental myriad lightning technique and the lightning guiding sword art. In my previous life, when I was at my peak, I cultivated this technique to increase my resistance towards the lightning tribulation, and it had a certain effect. The child demigod explained. Thunderization divine art. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. He had inherited the wind-lightning inheritance, so he had heard of the legendary lightning transformation divine art. It was said that this cultivation art was created by some powerful beings in ancient times to resist the heavenly tribulation. The thunderization divine art was even more effective against the lightning tribulation divine power. No wonder that demigod was able to leave behind an intact corpse and absorb a lot of the God tribulation lightning. Zhao Feng believed most of it. He had the wind-lightning inheritance and the five-elemental myriad lightning art. He was already an expert in the lightning Tao, so the thunderization divine art wouldn't be able to fool him. Secondly, it's very difficult for the divine tribulation lightning to be compatible with the other true yuan in the body, including lightning. The best way is to let the body absorb it. This is the mistake that Master made. The child demigod smiled. When Zhao Feng heard this, he felt as if he had been enlightened. No wonder he was met with resistance when he tried to absorb the God Tribulation lightning. The God Tribulation lightning was the God punishment lightning of heaven and earth, and it reigned above all other powers in heaven and earth. Think about it. How could this power be compatible with other true yuan or lightning? The child demigod pointed out the truth. The best way is to let the body absorb the God Tribulation lightning. My core is filled with the power of wind lightning, so it can't be compatible with it. Zhao Feng soon understood. Normal bodies can't absorb the power of God Tribulation lightning. This requires a very profound body-strengthening technique. The child demigod said proudly. Body-strengthening technique. Zhao Feng understood and gave the child demigod a deep glance. The demigod Kuan Yin specialized in body strengthening when he was alive, so he obviously had a strong body strengthening technique. Fine, tell me what you want. Zhao Feng decided to make a deal with the child demigod. Both the lightning transformation divine technique and the body strengthening technique were in the hands of the demigod Kuan Yin. Otherwise, even with the demigod head, it would be hard for Zhao Feng to absorb the power of God Tribulation lightning. I want the flesh from before, and I need a lot of it. The child demigod glanced at the cursed ghost corpse. The cursed ghost corpse couldn't hide from the child demigod after absorbing the power of the flesh from the ancient dream realm. How much do you want? Zhao Feng's expression didn't change. 10,000 kilograms, no bargaining. The child demigod said. 10,000 kilograms? Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. If he wanted to obtain 10,000 kilograms, he would have to kill some of the bigger animals in the ancient dream realm. My chips are definitely worth this price. The child demigod said firmly. He could already tell that Zhao Feng definitely had a large amount of such flesh. The 100 cursed ghost corpse was an example. Zhao Feng had put at least 1 or 2,000 kilograms into the 100 cursed ghost corpse. Okay. Zhao Feng nodded his head. But the prerequisite is that you need to ensure that the chips are real. Although 10,000 kilograms was a lot, it would only increase the child demigod's strength until he reached the void god realm. The more he used it, the less effective it would be. This was the same as how Zhao Feng used the aura of the ancient dream realm. I swear on the name of the God Tribulation that I won't do anything to the chips. The child demigod said solemnly. Zhao Feng was very satisfied and nodded his head. In his previous life, the child demigod had died from the God Tribulation. This power had already left a shadow in his heart. At the same time, the power of the God Tribulation was related to the laws of heaven and earth. The child demigod definitely wouldn't joke about this. From this, The child demigod was indeed sincere in making this deal. Or maybe he had something else to rely on and wasn't afraid of Zhao Feng getting his hands on the chips. In order to prove my sincerity, I'll give you the lightning transformation divine technique first, the child demigod said. Zhao Feng was very surprised. Was the child demigod really that sincere? He didn't think too much about it and received the information from the child demigod. Soon, a fragmented divine technique appeared in Zhao Feng's mind, the lightning transformation divine technique. Lightning transformation divine technique, a heaven-defying technique created by an ancient saint to absorb the power of lightning in order to fight against the god tribulation. The fragmented technique didn't contain much information. It wasn't like the wind lightning inheritance or the 5-elemental 10,000 lightning technique, which had a complete system. Simply put, it was a set of techniques, but it had very high requirements for comprehension and soul realm. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and tried to cultivate it. He found that although there wasn't much information, the difficulty of cultivating it wasn't low. Luckily, he had the 10,000 divine thoughts technique as a foundation, and the God's spiritual eyes analysis and comprehension were strong. I'll give you 5,000 kilograms of meat in a few days. Zhao Feng opened his eyes. The child demigod tried to hide the joy in his eyes. For the next few days, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged on the ground and seemed to be cultivating. His consciousness remained in the Soul Sea world. Zhao Feng's aura was sealed in the Soul Sea world, so he couldn't use his soul power easily. However, this didn't stop him from comprehending and analyzing in the Soul Sea world. Shua, with a thought, Zhao Feng entered the ancient dream realm once more. Next to the river, Zhao Feng started to kill some herbivores that weren't aggressive, such as cows and goats. In order to increase his efficiency, Zhao Feng took out the sky-locking bow. The power of the sky-locking bow was greatly suppressed in the ancient dream realm. However, the sky-locking bow could still attack from 10 to 20 yards away. Screech! Zhao Feng gripped the dark silver bow and slowly pulled back the bowstring as he merged his Iron 10 into it. Wong! In an instant, the hollowed inscriptions on the ancient bow shone with a silver luster, like three-dimensional patterns. They were like living tadpoles that lingered around the entire bow. At the same time, a cold and slender golden arrow appeared on the bowstring. At the level of the sky-locking bow, there was no need for arrows. It could automatically condense an arrow of light. As long as one had enough power, the sky-locking bow could, in theory, shoot without limit. This was like a gun that had an unlimited number of bullets. One whoosh. Gold and silver light intertwined on the sky-locking bow. The golden arrow of light carried a sharp aura that could pierce through the void. Accompanied by a silver line, it flashed through the air. Whoosh! The golden arrow of light flashed in the air, and the next time it appeared, it pierced through the head of a deer that was drinking water. What power! Zhao Feng's mouth gaped open in surprise. In order to hide this killing move, he hadn't used the bow yet. The physical defense of the beings in the ancient dream realm was extremely strong. If Zhao Feng wanted to kill a deer or a goat, he would need to spend some effort and effort. However, the sky-locking bow was able to kill them in one shot. That's good. I can use this bow in the ancient dream realm to train in all kinds of eye bloodline techniques. Zhao Feng was extremely excited. He immediately went over and put away the deer's corpse, clearing its aura so that it wouldn't attract the attention of other carnivores. 2 days later, Zhao Feng mainly used the sky-locking bow to kill larger carnivores. However, the sky-locking bow used a lot of true yuan and soul power. Zhao Feng only shot 4 or 5 arrows each day, and each arrow was a sure kill. The target locked onto by the sky-locking bow had no chance of dodging. This bow had the ability to pierce through space and even lock onto one's soul, making it impossible to dodge. It was in line with its name of heaven locking. 4 days later, in the captain's room, Zhao Feng summoned the child demigod. Here's 5,000 kilograms of meat. Zhao Feng took out an interspatial bag and handed it to the child demigod. The child demigod revealed a joyful expression as he took the interspatial bag and glanced over it. Master, this is the peerless body-strengthening technique I used in my previous life, the Golden Kuan Sacred Body. Even in the continent zone, it's one of the top body-strengthening techniques. The child demigod was very straightforward and handed a unique golden pearl of blood to Zhao Feng. This golden pearl of blood was formed from the child demigod's flesh and blood. Zhao Feng received the golden pearl of blood suspiciously. He faintly guessed that this kind of inheritance was probably carried on by the bloodline. However, Zhao Feng was still surprised that he could obtain the strongest body-strengthening technique of a demigod so easily. Mockery flashed through the child demigod's eyes. The Golden Kuan Sacred Body he traded was indeed real, but he wasn't worried about it falling into Zhao Feng's hands. Chapter 692. Just like that, Zhao Feng and the child demigod had successfully completed their first transaction. This was too easy for Zhao Feng. He didn't pay a big price to obtain the Lightning Transformation Divine Technique and the Golden Kuan Sacred Body. The Golden Kuan Sacred Body was the strongest body-strengthening technique that the demigod had when he was alive. Master, let me remind you that God Tribulation Lightning is the scariest source of power in the world and is extremely hard to absorb. You must cultivate the Golden Kuan Sacred Body to the 6th level before you can absorb the power of God Tribulation Lightning through the Lightning Transformation Divine Technique. The child demigod said, "The 6th level?" Before Zhao Feng could react, the child demigod went back into the ancient metal ring and didn't appear again. In a certain corner of the ancient metal ring, if I can cultivate the Golden Kuan Sacred Body to the 6th level, I'll be able to fight against sacred lords. The child demigod had a smug expression. Apart from fortune, any technique or inheritance needed a lot of time and effort to reach the level of an emperor or sacred lord. Compared to ordinary cultivation techniques, body tempering cultivation techniques were at least 10 times more difficult to cultivate. Furthermore, the Golden Kuan Sacred Body wasn't something that just anyone could cultivate. Within the captain's room, Zhao Feng sat down cross-legged and covered the golden drop of blood with his true yuan. Soon, the golden drop of blood merged into Zhao Feng's body. The Golden Kuan Sacred Body was a body-strengthening technique that was passed down through bloodlines. The information about it was imprinted into Zhao Feng's body. A vast amount of information soon merged into Zhao Feng's body. What was special was that this sacred technique had to be comprehended and cultivated through one's own body. Soul talent wasn't very helpful to one's cultivation. Golden Kuan Sacred Body, split into 7 levels. The highest level one can achieve is the body of a demigod, and one will be unparalleled against those below the heavenly divine realm. This body-strengthening technique requires a peak body-strengthening bloodline and talent. Zhao Feng received some basic information. Zhao Feng's expression became ugly after seeing this information. "I've been tricked." Zhao Feng gritted his teeth and his face darkened. The Golden Kuan Sacred Body was indeed a sacred body tempering art. It was indeed worth the price. However, the requirements to cultivate this body-tempering sacred art were extremely strict, and the speed of cultivation was extremely slow. First, it required top-notch body refinement bloodline aptitude to successfully cultivate it. As for Zhao Feng, he just so happened to not have a body refinement talent or a bloodline. His talent was in the soul. "You're going too far." Zhao Feng's first thought was to drag out the demigod Kuan Yin and torture him. But on second thought, if he did that, he would be going back on his word. After all, the Golden Kuan Sacred Body that the child demigod had given him wasn't fake. Cultivation technique requirements. This art didn't say that ordinary people couldn't cultivate it. However, there was no way to smoothly cultivate. There were bound to be many obstacles. In terms of the deal, the child demigod wasn't lying. With my body tempering talent, I won't be able to cultivate the Golden Kuan Sacred Body to the 6th level, even if I have 1,000 years. Zhao Feng shook his head after thinking for a while. Not to mention the Golden Kuan Sacred Body Even the cultivation of other simple body tempering techniques would be extremely slow. Zhao Feng's talent was in the soul, and techniques like the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique allowed him to progress very quickly. Therefore, Zhao Feng could only give up on the Golden Kun's sacred body for now. Thinking about it, he started to study the Lightning Transformation Divine technique. The Lightning Transformation Divine technique was something that Zhao Feng could cultivate. His soul, cultivation, and comprehension were all good enough. This made Zhao Feng feel slightly better. It was obvious that the child demigod had a good grasp of the situation. If Zhao Feng couldn't cultivate either of the two techniques, then he would most likely cause trouble for him. The child demigod was very smart. He could cultivate one, but he could ignore the difficulty of the other. However, Zhao Feng didn't lose his cool. If he acted too rash, the child demigod would laugh at him even more. Since body tempering isn't good, let's see if I can change the direction of my thoughts. Zhao Feng started to think. He cultivated the 10,000 Divine Thoughts technique, so his mind was extremely sharp and could split into hundreds of thoughts. Firstly, Zhao Feng first eliminated the possibility of relying on the Golden Kun sacred technique. He knew there was definitely a way to increase the speed of cultivating the Golden Kun sacred technique, or to help him absorb the God Tribulation lightning before reaching the 6th level. For example, he could absorb the aura of the ancient dream realm. Zhao Feng analyzed that with this, he might not even need to reach the 6th level to cultivate the Golden Kun sacred body. He might even be able to absorb the God Tribulation lightning and use it to refine his body. What a pity. If I could cultivate from the beginning and use the aura of the ancient dream realm along with the Golden Kun sacred technique to absorb the God Tribulation lightning and refine my body. Zhao Feng felt slightly regretful. Once this plan succeeded, he would be able to cultivate the God Tribulation lightning sacred body. However, Zhao Feng didn't have the time to cultivate from the beginning. He was currently being chased by the Emperor of Death, so he needed to increase his strength in a short amount of time. A while later, got it. Zhao Feng found a glimmer of light in the Lightning Transformation Divine technique. In the Thunderization Divine art, there was a description of the Divine Tribulation lightning. The power of the God Tribulation lightning didn't just target the physical body. It could also attack the soul of cultivators. Some cultivators didn't have a strong enough soul, so it didn't matter how strong their bodies were. This might have been the reason why the demigod Kuan Yin was defeated. After all, in terms of physical body, the demigod Kuan Yin was almost unparalleled. The soul. Isn't that my talent? Zhao Feng's thoughts became clear. Indeed, he didn't have a top-tier bloodline when it came to body strengthening. However, his talent in the soul could be said to be unique in the world. At least until now. Zhao Feng still hadn't seen anyone that could surpass him in terms of talent in the soul. Since my physical body can't handle the power of the God Tribulation lightning, then what about my soul? A crazy and bold thought appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Even the demigod Kuan Yin didn't dare to think about absorbing the power of the God Tribulation lightning with his soul, because the soul was a forbidden area. It was extremely dangerous and, at the same time, very unorthodox. The power of the God Tribulation lightning isn't purely physical or soul attacks. Since my physical body is strong, I can absorb it. Why can't I absorb it with my soul? Zhao Feng felt that it was possible. However, even the Lightning Transformation Divine technique didn't mention absorbing the power of the God Tribulation lightning with the soul. This way, Zhao Feng had to think of a way to copy how his physical body absorbed the power of the God Tribulation lightning to the soul. The God Spiritual, I was the best at copying things. Within the Soul Sea, Zhao Feng's consciousness split into several parts as he comprehended the Lightning Transformation Divine technique and started to analyze it. After several days of analysis, this way of thinking is completely possible. Zhao Feng became more and more excited. Think about it. If he absorbed the power of the God Tribulation lightning into his soul and used his eye bloodline technique, he would be able to send the power of the god tribulation lightning straight into the opponent's soul. Ha ha ha. Even the soul of an emperor might not be able to withstand the power of the god tribulation lightning. Thinking up to here, Zhao Feng almost laughed out loud. This way of thinking was crazy and daring, but the result of success would topple the world. Furthermore, once Zhao Feng's soul sea could absorb the power of the god tribulation lightning, he could use it to refine his body in the future. At that time, Zhao Feng also had a chance of using the god tribulation lightning to refine his body and the golden Kuan sacred body. Perfect. Perfect. Zhao Feng had the urge to slap the table. Of course. He definitely couldn't let the child demigod know this secret. On the contrary, Zhao Feng still had to pretend to be furious. In the corner of the ancient metal ring, it's like Zhao Feng has a mountain of treasure, but he can't open it. The child demigod was smug. He put pieces of flesh from the dream realm into his mouth. The flesh from the dream realm could speed up the recovery of his demigod bloodline. At the same time, it could increase his state of existence and help the golden Kuan sacred body recover. Since he had revived from a drop of blood, the golden Kuan sacred body could recover as long as he had a large amount of resources. That was why the child demigod craved the flesh from the dream realm. After digesting this flesh, my battle power will be comparable to a king's. After merging with my king intent, I'll be unrivaled against anyone below emperor. I might even be able to fight against normal emperors. The child demigod was overjoyed. He didn't notice the mocking gaze of a pair of cat eyes in another corner. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Zhao Feng's 10,000 divine thoughts technique was fully activated as he analyzed the lightning transformation divine technique and created an outline suitable for the soul. On this day, a faint smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face as he opened his eyes. Skeletal Division Leader, sink the ship into the ocean and set up the Ghost Corpse Cursed Array. Zhao Feng ordered. Understood. The Skeletal Division Leader ordered the ghost ship to sink into the ocean. The void ocean was a natural sensory barrier. This action also attracted the attention of the child demigod. What is Zhao Feng planning? The child demigod paid close attention. He speculated that Zhao Feng was using this natural sensory barrier to block out the death intent, so that he could use a secret soul art. Soon, the ghost ship sank into the depths of the ocean. A thick, dark gray cloud of ghost corpse flames enveloped an area of 10 li, as if it could blot out the sun and sky. The power of the ghost corpse cursed array shocked everything within several thousand miles. Countless sea race beings felt a coldness that came from their souls and started to tremble. The power of the ghost corpse cursed array can even threaten kings. Those below the void god realm won't be able to return. I'll destroy as many as they come. The Skeletal Division Leader was extremely confident. Zhao Feng's goal was to use the power of the Ghost Corpse Cursed Array to block the intent of death. Shua. His purple hair floated in the air as a misty purple world appeared in his left eye. Next, Zhao Feng waved his hand, and a black head floated in front of him. In an instant, a forbidden aura that could scare all gods and ghosts was released, and the Ghost Corpse Cursed Array nearby started to tremble. The Ghost Corpse's resentment power in the surroundings almost dissipated. Come. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto the demigod's head. Shua. The demigod's head disappeared. In the next instant, in the dimension of his left eye, a black head floated in the darkness. At the center of this dark dimension was Zhao Feng's soul sea world. Weirdly enough, after entering the dimension of his left eye, the demigod tribulation head seemed to be suppressed, and its terrifying aura was almost undetectable. Chapter 693. Success. Zhao Feng looked at the floating demigod head in the dimension of his left eye. At the same time, his left eye and purple hair quickly dimmed and returned to their normal color. In order to complete that crazy idea, he had taken a risk by using spatial movement and releasing a wisp of eye bloodline power. This would increase the danger of the pursuit of death. However, this risk was worth it. The pursuit of death was either one of them dying or the other dying. Zhao Feng needed to increase his strength in order to survive this battle and even have a chance to turn the tables on them. Luckily, the ghost ship traveled for more than half a month in the limitless ocean and left the Sky Hua Tian Void Ocean Spiritual Palace. Zhao Feng's eye of death intent had greatly reduced the sensitivity of the pursuit of death. He had also made all kinds of preparations, such as letting the ship sink into the depths of the ocean and opening the ghost corpse cursed array. All of this was to reduce the sensitivity of the pursuit of death. Unless he was extremely unlucky, the pursuit of death would be very close. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy to create problems in the short moment just now. Right now, the demigod head is on the same level as my soul sea, so it's easier for me to absorb it. Zhao Feng closed his eyes. The dimension of his left eye was pitch black. In the middle, there was 1,000 yards of purple mist. This was Zhao Feng's soul sea. The demigod head floated in the pitch-black area. Zhao Feng had sealed off the aura of his soul in this area. In this enclosed environment, Zhao Feng didn't need to worry and could use the heart soul. Zhao Feng released a thought. A surge of eye intent enveloped the demigod head. In the dimension of his left eye, the aura of the demigod head seemed to be restricted. This was very beneficial for Zhao Feng. Otherwise, just the aura of the demigod head alone was enough to make the hearts of all beings tremble. Shua, the demigod head was taken to the edge of the soul sea by eye intent. And Zhao Feng nodded his head. The preparations had gone better than expected. Now, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline power could touch the head of the demigod god at a very close distance. Immediately after, Zhao Feng further analyzed the Thunderization Divine art and completed the absorption process. The Thunderization Divine incantation absorbed lightning power into one's body or dantian. Zhao Feng, on the other hand, wanted to absorb the power of the tribulation lightning into his soul. Zhao Feng had already completed the outline of the relevant ideas. After that, it was time to concretize and perfect the outline of the idea in practice. This required Zhao Feng's deduction to perfect it. Thanks to the God's spiritual eye and the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, Zhao Feng's analysis and deduction abilities were extremely strong. He didn't need to create a secret technique out of thin air. Instead, he wanted to apply the method of absorbing lightning from the Thunderization Divine art to the soul level. 7 days later, the outline of Zhao Feng's soul version of the Thunderization Divine art became clearer and clearer. The next step of perfecting it is to put it into practice. Zhao Feng was looking forward to it. Practice was the truth. Zhao Feng wanted to figure out how to absorb God tribulation lightning through practice. Start. Zhao Feng focused and circulated the Thunderization Divine art with his eye intent. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. His eye intent formed wisps of faint purple soul power into a small spiral. This spiral was extremely gentle. It was like a small straw that spun and emitted an attractive force. The first purple spiral touched the head of the God tribulation. Even a small part of the spiral merged into the head of the God tribulation. After all, the spiral was soul power. Boom! Zhao Feng's consciousness shook as if it had been struck by 10,000 bolts of lightning. A strong, numbing feeling spread throughout his body. Whoosh! The power of the God tribulation lightning quickly shattered the spiral. Zhao Feng's purple soul sea shook slightly. The situation is much better than I thought, Zhao Feng said in a deep tone. His soul power wasn't affected by the power of the God tribulation lightning. Instead, a wisp of the power of the God tribulation lightning spread through his soul. Even though the ripples of the God tribulation lightning were so small that they could be ignored. In the dimension of his left eye, the head of the God tribulation seemed to be suppressed, and its aura was much more obedient. Otherwise, ordinary soul strength would be shaken to the point of dispersing upon contact with the power of the lightning tribulation. My intent and soul sea are strong enough. I can handle the ripples of this level. Zhao Feng relaxed. Then, He used his eye intent to control the two spirals and merge them into the head of the god Tribulation. Boom, 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 boom. Zhao Feng's consciousness shook as the current from the power of the god Tribulation lightning spread into his purple soul sea. The purple soul sea started to tremble slightly. Zhao Feng felt that his purple soul sea was being baptized by the ripples of the god Tribulation lightning. In the dark, his purple soul sea had also been slightly cleansed. His purple soul sea even absorbed an imperceptible particle of the power of the god Tribulation lightning. The particle of the god Tribulation lightning was so small that it could be ignored. However, this made Zhao Feng overjoyed. My train of thought is completely feasible. Zhao Feng's experiment went much smoother than he had imagined. The main reason was that the power of the god Tribulation lightning was very obedient in the dimension of his left eye and didn't attack him. Next, Zhao Feng needed to perfect the soul-based version of a lightning transformation divine technique and increase the rate at which he absorbed the particle of the god Tribulation lightning. According to the previous speed, Zhao Feng wouldn't be able to absorb a single wisp of the god Tribulation lightning even after half a year. Half a day later, Zhao Feng's eye intent controlled more than a dozen small spirals that wrapped around the head of the god Tribulation. Boom! The fierce rumbling of the lightning caused Zhao Feng's consciousness to feel dizzy and shaken. He gritted his teeth and used his eye intent to block the dizzying lightning while using more soul power to maintain the spirals. This way, Zhao Feng's absorption rate increased by more than a dozen times. Of course, the consumption of his soul power also increased by more than a dozen times. He needed to maintain the spirals at all times. If he paused for even a second, the power of the god Tribulation lightning would shatter them. Luckily, my god spiritual eye evolved last time, and my soul has also formed eye intent. Zhao Feng felt lucky. If it weren't for the fact that his soul power intent surpassed normal kings and the god Tribulation lightning was suppressed in the dimension of his left eye, it wouldn't have been realistic for his soul to absorb the power of the god Tribulation lightning. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Zhao Feng's soul successfully absorbed a wisp of the god Tribulation lightning. However, the wisp of god Tribulation lightning was extremely thin, and it merged into his purple soul sea. It was like a drop of blood fell into the pond, completely inconspicuous. Zhao Feng could only feel the existence of the wisp of god Tribulation lightning, but he wasn't able to use it right now. However, this didn't stop him from comprehending the power of the god Tribulation lightning. I can comprehend this wisp of god Tribulation lightning whenever I want, and it's 100 times deeper than normal. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. While absorbing the power of the god Tribulation lightning, his eye intent and soul were both strengthened. When he absorbed more god Tribulation lightning, Zhao Feng's soul attacks and eye intent might contain the element of the god Tribulation lightning. Right now, what Zhao Feng needed to do was absorb more god Tribulation lightning and comprehend its intent. As time passed, Zhao Feng's soul power was able to withstand the shock waves of the god Tribulation lightning. This was because his soul power contained the aura of the god Tribulation lightning. The purple spirals were no longer easily shattered by the power of the god Tribulation lightning. The more time passed, the faster Zhao Feng would be able to absorb and comprehend the power of the god Tribulation lightning. If this continues, my soul will be able to catch up to the level of an emperor in 1 or 2 years. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. The power of the god Tribulation lightning surpassed all other powers. It could even kill peak sacred lords and demigods. From this, one could see how strong it was. Although the amount of god Tribulation lightning Zhao Feng had absorbed wasn't even 1/10,000th of a single bolt of god Tribulation lightning, it was extremely beneficial to his soul. Demigod Kuan Yin, just you wait. I'll give you a big surprise. A confident smile formed on Zhao Feng's face. According to the child demigod's thoughts, if Zhao Feng wanted to cultivate the golden Kuan sacred body and absorb the power of lightning with his body, he might not be able to do it even in a few thousand years. On the other hand, Zhao Feng didn't stick to the traditional way of thinking and change his way of thinking. He switched the method of forming lightning to the soul that he was most proficient in. On this day, Zhao Feng's consciousness split into several parts. The first part was to wear down the eye of death intent. The second part was to absorb the power of the God Tribulation lightning. The third part was to comprehend the intent of the God Tribulation lightning. The God Tribulation lightning was also a type of power. When this power was imprinted into one's soul, it would be much easier to comprehend it, and the success rate would increase by more than 100-fold. Zhao Feng's goal was to integrate the lightning tribulation's profundities into the wind lightning inheritance. The wind and thunder inheritance was the pinnacle of attack and speed. Its might was already astonishing. If the profound of the lightning tribulation were to be infused into it, the might of the lightning tribulation would multiply. After being baptized by the aftermath of the lightning tribulation, Zhao Feng's comprehension of the profound had already touched the surface. Pong! In Zhao Feng's palm, a throbbing crimson wind thunder appeared, containing a faint, immortal, and indestructible thunder tribulation aura. Of course, this aura was less than 1/10,000th of the Scarlet Tempest. If it weren't for Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye and the unique aura of the lightning tribulation, he wouldn't have been able to sense it. Success. All I need now is time. Zhao Feng's eyes flickered. As long as he had a few years, he would be able to merge the God Tribulation lightning I intent and the wind lightning inheritance into it, and he would be able to dominate the 3 spirit zones of the Tsang Ocean. The Sea of Void. The ghost ship traveled at a fast and steady speed through the misty sea. Master, someone seems to have their eyes on our ship, the skeletal division leader suddenly said. The limitless ocean in front of them was abnormally silent, and there was an aura of blood. There weren't many sea race life forms here. What's going on? Zhao Feng didn't use his divine sense to let the skeletal division leader search. The child demigod was also pulled out by Zhao Feng. We seem to have been targeted by a legendary pirate ship. The child demigod spread out his senses. The sound of flying came from the back of the ghost ship, and a fierce and hostile aura lingered. Legendary pirate ship? Where's this place? A map appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. 10,000 Abyss Island Zone. 18 Corners Canyon. What a complicated terrain. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. So, it's the famous pirate sacred land of the Tsang Ocean. The child demigod had a weird expression. Chapter 694. Pirate Sacred Land? Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader both had weird expressions. In a void sea, void pirates were a bandit profession that Sea Kong found strange. On the way, the ghost ship met some other pirate ships, but they didn't dare to attack because of the ghost ship's aura. However, it was a little unbelievable for the void pirates to give birth to an existence that was revered as a sacred land. Is that so? Doesn't that mean we'll meet a lot of pirates? Zhao Feng couldn't help but lick his lips. After leaving the demigod Forgotten Garden, Zhao Feng's strength had increased by leaps and bounds, and he had learned many secret techniques. However, he didn't have many opportunities to fight. Excitement appeared in the skeletal division leader's eyes. The ghost corpse formation that he had mastered was many times more powerful than in the past. The 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land isn't a place that could be easily offended. The pirate kings here are all void god realm kings. Not only that, but the pirate fleets here will also kill each other and give birth to a pirate emperor. The child demigod said. Hearing that, Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader couldn't help but stop underestimating the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land. Of course, there's also a unique inheritance here, the Pirate Emperor Inheritance. The child demigod paused for a moment. Pirate Emperor Inheritance? Zhao Feng felt even weirder. Tens of thousands of years ago, there was a pirate emperor whose battle power reigned supreme and destroyed several 2-star sections. In the end, it was the floating dream sacred land that barely managed to defeat him. Before he died, the legendary pirate emperor used all his treasures to leave behind the pirate emperor inheritance. From then on, The throne of the pirate emperor was passed down for generations. The child demigod sighed. He had a playful expression as he looked at Zhao Feng and the skeletal division leader, whose expressions were gradually becoming solemn. The 18 Corners pirates' sacred land had a complicated terrain and was filled with pirates. This was the sacred land of the pirates. Every pirate king was at the king level. The forces of many pirate kings fought and killed each other, competing for the position of the supreme pirate emperor. Whoosh! Right as Zhao Feng was learning more about the pirates' sacred land, the sound of flying appeared from behind. Immediately after, a 300-meter-long blood-colored sailboat, with skeletons and whale skins hanging on it, flew over in a blood-colored storm. The blood-colored sailboat was a legendary pirate ship. Its speed was on par with Zhao Feng's ghost ship, but its size and performance were several times greater. The ship in front, "Why aren't you surrendering and being interrogated?" A cold and overbearing voice sounded. As soon as he finished speaking, the divine senses of a few half-step kings descended upon the ghost ship with a mighty power. Buzz! The ghost ship's speed slowed down. 3 half-step kings have comprehended a few strands of worldly power. Zhao Feng was slightly moved. He and the child demigod weren't affected much. The skeletal division leader felt slightly nervous and pressured. There seems to be another king's divine sense, the child demigod said casually. At the same time, on the blood-red sailboat 100 miles away. Strange. A skinny man with blood-colored hair sat on a throne. His eyes were like an eagle's, and he had a strange expression on his face. His king-level divine sense scanned over the ghost ship. He saw a skeleton, a 2-year-old child, and a youth with a mysterious aura. The child's voice was childish, but he found his king-level divine sense. This ship isn't simple. The blood-colored hair king stopped underestimating it. Being one of the pirate kings of the 18 Corners Canyon, he was experienced and cautious. Boom! With a thought, a blood-colored light dyed the air. The ghost ship 100 miles away was locked in place by the magnificent power of a king, and it couldn't move even if it tried. This was the power of a void god realm king. Everyone below the king level was an ant. "Master, what do we do?" The skeletal division leader's breathing quickened as it started to panic. He originally thought that it was some ordinary pirate ship, and the captain's strength was at most a supremacy. Half-step king would be the limit. However, this was the pirate sacred land. It's a bit troublesome. Zhao Feng's gaze landed on the child demigod. The child demigod hiccuped. "And how about this? Little Kuan Yun, I'll promote you to the captain of the ghost ship's guards." Zhao Feng said with a smile that wasn't a smile. "Captain of the guards?" The child demigod almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Zhao Feng wanted to use him as a free bodyguard, but there was nothing he could do. Since they were master and servant, the child demigod could only step forward. "Pirates, if you know what's good for you, then fuck off," the child demigod said in a childish voice. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. A half-step king's captain led a group of venerables and venerables to attack. Looking at the threatening appearance of the 2 to 3-year-old child, the pirates were all startled. The pirates immediately laughed. "Ha, a kid whose hair hasn't even grown out yet. Hee, such a cute kid. I don't even have the heart to kill him." The female pirates had playful expressions. Although they were joking, they could tell that this kid wasn't simple. Anyone below the true spirit realm would find it hard to survive in the limitless ocean. Furthermore, he was only 2 or 3 years old. "Let's rob the ship first," a half-step king ordered. So. The weakest of the pirates were at the small origin core realm, and they leaped toward the ghost ship. Set the formation. The skeletal division leader waved the array flag, and a thick layer of ghost corpse flames appeared that radiated a terrifying power of ghost corpses. "Be careful." The blood-haired king's expression changed. Hoo-hoo. The thick layer of ghost corpse flame cloud instantly enveloped an area of 10 li, covering the sky and the sun. All kinds of hair-raising roars and screams could be heard. A few of the pirates who had charged and were touched by the ghost corpse flame cloud. They let out miserable screams and instantly turned into puddles of blood, which were devoured by the grand curse formation. As long as a venerable was touched by the ghost corpse flame cloud, he would definitely die. Even a supremacy would lose a layer of skin if they didn't die. Not to mention being enveloped by the power of the great curse array or being hit head-on. Hoo-hoo! The skeletal division leader's confidence increased dramatically, and it waved the array flag, causing the ghost corpse flame cloud to turn into large gray hands that turned the pirates into puddles of blood. Even my magnificent power is being corroded by the power of the curse. The blood-haired king exclaimed. The power of the ghost corpse cursed array had reached a terrifying level. It was unrivaled against those below the void god realm, and it could even threaten void god realm kings. At this moment, the child demigod took action. His 3-year-old body glittered with a golden light, as if he had the golden body of a diamond. Bam! The child demigod punched out, and a dominating golden fist crushed through the air. Arc. On the other side, 3 or 4 pirates were smashed into a bloody mess by a single punch. They died instantly. The child demigod's fist came from the golden Kuan sacred body, and it contained the power of a sacred body. His simple punch pierced through the magnificent power of a king. What kind of fist technique is this? In the distance, the blood-haired king felt his magnificent power shake unstably as it was corroded by the corpse aura of resentment. All of you die. Savagery flashed through the child demigod's eyes as he turned into a golden beam of light and charged into the group of pirates. Bam! Bam! For a moment, the vast and disdainful golden fist light shook the sea. More than 10 pirates were torn to shreds like pieces of paper. His speed was just too fast. Even the half-step king was punched into the ocean by the child demigod. No one knew if he was dead or alive. Bastard! Die! The blood-haired king roared as he flew over. The magnificent power in heaven and earth made the child demigod's figure slow down. However, the child demigod was a demigod at his peak, and his golden Kuan sacred body was one of the best techniques in the world. He used a weird footwork and punched out with extraordinary intent. The magnificent power suppression on him was reduced by 70%. Blood purge. The blood-haired king's blood-red hair fluttered in the wind as he waved his palm. A blood-red light filled the sky with a bloodthirsty, killing intent. In that instant, heaven and earth were dyed red, and the life forms of the sea race trembled as their thoughts seemed to be restricted. The ghost ship and the child demigod were all enveloped by this attack. Inconceivably, not only were the nearby pirates not injured by the blood-colored light, but they were also healed. Golden Emperor's fist. The child demigod punched out a glass-like fist that snowballed and became bigger and bigger until it was as heavy as a mountain, and the air around it seemed to be crushed by a mountain weighing thousands of kilograms. Boom! The two powerful forces clashed together. With a bam, the child demigod was sent flying half a mile away by the blood-colored light. However, the golden skin on his body was glistening as if it was forged from gold and copper, and it even emanated an ancient and primitive aura of a physique. Although he was at a disadvantage against the king, he wasn't injured. This child demigod's state of existence has reached the level of a king after using my flesh and blood. His golden Kuan sacred body has recovered to the peak 4th level. Zhao Feng was speechless. 10,000 kilograms of the ancient dream realm flesh made the child demigod's bloodline and body even more condensed, and it gave off an ancient aura. As the two clashed, the nearby pirates were crushed by the shockwaves of the shockwaves, leaving them barely recognizable. The pirates in the distance looked at the child demigod in fear and didn't dare to get close. The Bloodhair King felt a chill down his spine. Hoo-hoo! The skeletal division leader waved the array flag and gathered the ghost corpse flames to harvest the flesh and soul of the pirates. Retreat! The blood-haired king suddenly sensed something and gave the order to retreat. The child demigod and the skeletal division leader felt weird as they watched the pirates suddenly retreat. Captain, with our strength, We don't need to fear that ghost ship. A half-step king realm leader asked in confusion. The battle for the title of Pirate Emperor that occurs once every 300 years has already begun. We still have to help the Black Shark King seize the throne of the Pirate Emperor and enter the Pirate Emperor's sacred place of inheritance. Regardless of success or failure, a new Pirate Emperor will be born soon. The Blood-Hair King paused for a moment. His eagle-like eyes looked toward the ghost ship in the distance. This ghost ship is extremely weird, and there's a mysterious youth inside. I can't even see through that child. Since they've entered the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land, they're most likely reinforcements from one of the Pirate Kings. The Blood-Hair King had a solemn expression. At the same time, there were 3 other legendary ships within 100,000 miles of the limitless ocean. Their forces were spread out and watching the situation, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Chapter 695. The blood-haired pirate king's instincts surprised Zhao Feng. If the child demigod and the skeletal division leader couldn't handle the situation, Zhao Feng would definitely give them a heavy blow at the critical moment. However, Zhao Feng just wanted to see how strong the child demigod was. The child demigod's battle power moved Zhao Feng. The child demigod's cultivation was close to the peak Great Origin Core realm, and with the help of the ancient dream realm flesh and blood, his bloodline had recovered. He didn't even see the child demigod use a secret technique to fight against normal kings. Zhao Feng even suspected that the child demigod was still holding back. Of course, Zhao Feng was confident that he had absolute control over the child demigod. His soul strength surpassed normal kings, and he definitely suppressed the child demigod. On top of that, Zhao Feng's soul sea had absorbed a wisp of God tribulation lightning and was being cleansed by it. Master, what should we do from here on? Should we go around the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land? The skeletal division leader asked. Zhao Feng waved his hand, and a faint blue map appeared in front of him. On the map was the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land of the 10,000 Abyss Island Zone. The terrain here was extremely complicated and unique. The 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land had many zones similar to the 8 Desolate Mountain. The 18 Corners represented 18 mini-zones, and each one of them was at least on the level of the 8 Desolate Mountain. Not only that, the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land was the only way to the nearby 4 or 5 island zones. Because, apart from the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land, the other areas of the 10,000 Abyss Island Zone had harsh weather, and there were countless stormy abysses. The stormy abyss was an abyss formed by a pitch-black storm. It could swallow large ships, and the reason for its formation could not be explained. Even sovereign lords had to be careful when flying near the stormy abysses. If we go around them, we'll have to travel 5 to 10 times the distance. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. The terrain of the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land was simply too unique. It was the only way to cross 4 or 5 island zones. Coupled with the complicated terrain and the natural barriers around it, it was no wonder that it became the Pirate Holy Land. No detours passed through the 18 Corners Pirate Sanctuary. Zhao Feng made a decision. If he took a detour, he would waste several times the amount of time. If he wasn't careful, he might even be caught by the death pursuit. Compared to these pirate kings, Zhao Feng was more afraid of the death hunt. Whoosh! The Ghost Corp's ship pierced through the air, its speed rivaling some of the legendary ships. The child demigod and the skeletal division leader waited. The Ghost Corp's resentment aura on the ghost ship was enough to intimidate ordinary pirate ships. In the captain's cabin, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and did not absorb the God Tribulation Lightning's power for the time being. Continuously absorbing the Divine Tribulation Lightning's power would greatly exhaust his soul's energy, which wasn't good for traveling in this environment. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Feng flipped his hand, and a mahogany cup and a bronze cup appeared above his palm. The 2 cups corresponded to the Flaming Dragon Wine and Lightning Cloud Wine. The Flaming Dragon Wine and Lightning Cloud Wine are on the same level as the Illusion God Wine. I haven't finished them yet when I was cultivating in the Sacred Land. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. When he was cultivating in the sacred land, he purposely didn't finish these two wines, including the illusion god wine. Firstly, the effect would be reduced if one drank too many of them. Secondly, relying too much on external items and lacking his own comprehension wasn't good for cultivation. And now, after such a long time, Zhao Feng had even tried to comprehend some of the God Tribulation Lightning's laws. His comprehension of the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning was over 60%. He believed that these two wines would be more effective for his cultivation of the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning. Gulu. Zhao Feng drank a big mouthful of the Flaming Dragon wine and Lightning Cloud wine. His state of existence and body were much stronger than when he was in the Sacred Land. This was due to the water in the ancient dream realm. Zhao Feng would drink large amounts of it every day, and it was beneficial to his cultivation and even his soul. Soon, the power of the Flaming Dragon wine and Lightning Cloud wine rampaged through Zhao Feng's body. This was the first time that Zhao Feng had drunk two wines at the same time. The Flaming Dragon wine and Lightning Cloud wine focused on the elements of dragon flame and lightning respectively. Drinking them at the same time would be more effective for his cultivation of the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning. An entire day passed. The power of the two wines was mostly absorbed by Zhao Feng, and the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning within his body became more active. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng casually let out a breath, and there was a burning sensation as if there was wind and lightning around him. My comprehension of the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning has reached 70 to 80%. My cultivation isn't far from the peak Great Origin Core realm. Zhao Feng faintly nodded his head. He still had the last portion of the Flaming Dragon wine and Lightning Cloud wine, which he would drink a few months later. The power and control of Zhao Feng's Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning far surpassed the Wind Lightning Emperors. Furthermore, the laws of God Tribulation Lightning had been merged into the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning, giving it an immortal and undying aura. Of course, if one didn't sense it carefully, it would be very hard to find this aura. However, Zhao Feng believed that this aura of God Tribulation Lightning could give the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning its element. Captain, there's a legendary pirate ship in front of us. It's coming at us aggressively. The Skeletal Division leader suddenly said. Within the limitless ocean, hundreds of li in front of the ghost ship, a dark warship shrouded in a layer of strange mist and wreathed in a murderous aura pressed forward. The aura of this ship was even stronger than the blood-colored ship from before. The ghost ship ahead, I'll give you a chance. Join the Dark Dragon King. A hoarse voice sounded from within the dark warship. Immediately following that, a surge of magnificent power covered the ghost corpse ship. The space in front of him had a strange feeling of being replaced. The ghost ship had fallen into a dark, misty space where fiendish flames were roaring and roaring. What's going on? The Skeletal Division leader's expression changed slightly as it lost its sense of direction. The expression of the child demigod changed slightly as he murmured, "This is troublesome. It's a domain-level king." Domain-level king. Zhao Feng's heart dropped. The entire dimension around the ghost ship had been sealed by the dark dimension. Domain-level kings were void god realm kings that had comprehended a spatial domain. Void god realm kings of this level were rare even in the true martial sacred land. Void god realm kings were split into 3 levels. Normal kings were usually at the early stage or middle stage void god realm, such as Nan Gongsheng and the Blue Robe King. Domain-level kings were usually at the middle stage or late stage void god realm, and had comprehended a spatial domain. Their understanding of space surpassed normal kings. Peak-tier kings were at the peak of the void god realm and were only below emperors. They might even be able to fight against emperors. We've entered the opponent's spatial domain, and the magnificent power of heaven and earth is even stronger. It'll be very difficult to break through. The child demigod had a solemn expression. The previous battle was just against normal kings, and they hadn't gained any advantage yet. Juniors, I'll give you half the time it takes to make tea to think. The Dark Dragon King is one of the 3 strongest leaders of the 18 Corners pirate sacred land. It'll be your honor to become the subordinates of the future pirate emperor. That hoarse and deep voice was filled with a hint of bewitchment. Within the ghost ship, Zhao Feng and company had entered the spatial domain of a king. Nothing could escape the other senses. Dark Dragon King, the 3 strongest leaders. Pirate Emperor, thoughts flashed through Zhao Feng's mind. He vaguely realized that his ghost ship had been dragged into the 18 Corners Pirate Holy Lands battle for the title of Pirate Emperor. The Pirate Emperor's inheritance is the inheritance of a peak emperor, but it's still weaker than the demigod Forgotten Garden. Zhao Feng wasn't very interested in this inheritance. Furthermore, only true pirates would be able to obtain the true meaning of the Pirate Emperor's inheritance. But what could he do? The terrain of the 18 Corners Pirate's sacred land was unique, and Zhao Feng didn't want to go around it. On the dark warship far away, an old man in a black robe, holding a walking stick in his hand, had a red mole between his eyebrows. His body was surrounded by a layer of black misty brilliance. The eyes of the black-robed elder were like those of a venomous snake as he stared at the ghost ship ahead. Lord Dark Snake King, is this ghost ship really worth it for us to rope in? It won't be of much use in the battle for the title of Pirate Emperor. A green-eyed pirate leader asked respectfully. The black-robed elder was Lord Dark Snake, the right-hand man of the Dark Dragon King. This ghost corpse's ship is both nimble and strange, and has a special ghost corpse's formation. Its battle power is probably comparable to a normal legendary tier pirate ship. The black-robed elder's eyes lit up. A ghost ship like this, whether it was subduing it or taking it for himself, would only profit and not lose anything. A normal pirate king wouldn't have the right to take this ship. However, Lord Darksnake was a domain-level king, and his ship's battle power could be ranked in the top 10. In the captain's room, Zhao Feng thought for a moment before looking toward the child demigod. The two of them communicated with each other through the Dark Heart Seed. Little Kuan Yun, are you confident you can break through to the king domain? Zhao Feng asked. His eye intent surpassed normal kings, and if he used his eye bloodline, he was confident he could break through this domain. However, Zhao Feng couldn't use his eye bloodline easily. With my golden Kuan sacred body and fist intent, I should be able to break through. But even then, I won't be able to beat a domain-level king, unless Master allows me to merge with the demigod intent. The child demigod said expectantly. If he could merge with the demigod intent, his strength would definitely increase. It'll be enough if I can break through. Zhao Feng smiled. He controlled the child demigod's growth, so he couldn't let him merge with the demigod intent too early. Juniors, what do you think? King Dark Snake's raspy and sinister voice echoed in the dark space filled with fiendish flames. As long as you can defeat us, the ghost ship will naturally join the Dark Dragon King. As long as you can defeat us, the ghost ship will naturally join the Dark Dragon King. Zhao Feng said unhurriedly. Defeat? Zhe, if you don't join us, only death awaits you. Lord Dark Snake's voice suddenly went cold. In the next instant, inside the dark space, the raging fiendish flames and sinister energies were eroding the ghost ship under the majestic power of heaven and earth. The power of the spatial domain locked down the ghost ship. The skeletal division leader's bones started to creak, unable to fight back at all. Zhao Feng's breathing also quickened. Sky-destroying golden fist. The child demigod attacked, and his golden fist turned into a beam of light that pierced through the dark dimension and tore open a gap. Wings of wind and lightning. A pair of scarlet wings condensed on Zhao Feng's back. Lightning and lightning crisscrossed on the skeletal wings, making them look extremely lifelike. Chapter 696. That child. The black-robed elder was extremely surprised. The spatial domain created by his king intent was torn open by the 2- or 3-year-old child. The child's physical strength and fist intent seemed to have transcended the world, and the punch landed right on the weak point of his spatial domain. Wings of wind and lightning. A gust of wind brought the child demigod through the gap in the spatial domain. What speed? The black-robed elder didn't expect this. He hadn't even repaired the gap yet. The child demigod and Zhao Feng's teamwork was as fast as lightning. The instant the former opened the gap, the latter unleashed his wings of wind and lightning and broke through the king's domain. Domain-level king, come out and fight. Zhao Feng's battle intent rose dramatically, and the scarlet destruction lightning wings on his back started to flap rapidly as if they were on fire. A scarlet whirlwind 100 yards wide appeared and charged toward the dark warship. The child demigod grabbed onto Zhao Feng and felt the destructive scarlet destruction wind lightning turn into a whirlwind that could destroy everything. How can an emperor's inheritance be so strong? The child demigod's heart shook. Compared to when he fought Lei Zhan in the true martial sacred land, Zhao Feng's scarlet destruction wind lightning was more than twice as strong. What a powerful aura! Open the array. The black-robed old man's expression was stern as he immediately ordered. He had to admit that the battle power of the youth with the wings of lightning was comparable to normal kings. In fact, the black-robed elder could tell that Zhao Feng's inheritance came from the Wind-Lightning Emperor. The Wind-Lightning Emperor from 10,000 years ago was the fastest emperor, and his fame could be compared to the first pirate emperors. Stay here. The black-robed elder leapt into the air, and a surge of king intent formed a domain-level magnificent power that covered the youth with the wings of lightning. If it was someone below the king level, he would be able to restrict them with just a thought and even destroy their soul. Lightning wings wind flash. Zhao Feng's wings of wind and lightning danced rapidly as he streaked through the air. His speed didn't decrease. Instead, it increased. His wings of wind and lightning had the ability to break through the void. Zhao Feng's soul, intent, and state of existence meant that he didn't fear the magnificent power of a king. Break! A golden light glittered around the child demigod's body as he waved his golden fists that were comparable to the intent of kings. Boom! Boom! The nearby magnificent power was broken through by Zhao Feng and the child demigod before it could form a spatial domain. Swish, swish. Zhao Feng's speed reached a limit, causing the black-robed old man's expression to change. Facing a domain-level king, he took the initiative to attack. That kid is so strong. The Void Pirates on the Dark Radiance warship were shocked. Thunderwings wind flash. The bolt of lightning pierced through the sea of mist, bringing with it a scarlet whirlwind of destructive flame explosions. That speed made ordinary kings powerless. Devil Snake Sky. King Dark Snake suddenly raised the spinning staff in his hand, and a huge abyss of black fog appeared in the sky above him. It twisted and gave off a powerful suction force. Boom! The abyss of black fog shook, and a snarling demonic snake appeared. It was 100 yards long and seemed to be alive. The black-striped demonic snake was cold and cruel as it coiled toward Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's Thunderwings wind flash slowed down as soon as it arrived. The abyss of black fog took over a large part of heaven and earth, and it was continuing to expand. Golden Emperor's fist. The child demigod punched out and created a hole in the demonic snake's head. However, the demonic snake was in between the physical world and true Yuan, so it didn't have any weak points. Its enormous body swept toward Zhao Feng and the child demigod. Zhao Feng wasn't scared at all. Whoosh! Boom! The scarlet whirlwind created by the wings of wind and lightning clashed with the demonic snake. In an instant, the sound of explosions rang out incessantly. An entire area was annihilated by the violent and destructive scarlet wind and lightning, and it burned and exploded. Thunder rumbled and wind swept, and it was deafening. The dark-striped devil serpent was devoured and torn to pieces. Domain-level kings are only SOSO. The wings of wind and lightning behind Zhao Feng's back were 10 to 20 yards long, and they fluttered at high speed like a demon. With him as the center, everything within dozens of miles was affected by the terrifying power of the scarlet destruction wind lightning. Even the Dark Radiance warship's Guardian formation flickered. The pirates on the ship held their breaths as their expressions changed dramatically. Ja, ja. King Dark Snake laughed as he spun the staff in his hand. Wong, the abyss in the air, didn't dissipate under the force of the Scarlet Destruction whirlwind. Instead, it started to expand. Whoosh, whoosh. From the depths of the abyss, another 3 giant, demonic snakes came out and surrounded Zhao Feng from different directions. 3. Zhao Feng felt a chill run down his spine. The 3 demonic snakes had sealed off his path of retreat. The abyss in the air was the manifestation of King Dark Snake's domain-level power, and it greatly restricted Zhao Feng's speed. Boom! Zhao Feng and the child demigod were hit by a demonic snake, and they were pushed back and separated. Domain-level kings aren't something you can guess. Coldness flashed through King Dark Snake's eyes as he waved the staff in his hand, and the 3 demonic snakes summoned their magnificent power to seal off Zhao Feng and the child demigod. Bam! Bam! Zhao Feng and the child demigod's figures split apart and flew back. Among them, the child demigod's body glowed with a golden light, and he wasn't injured at all. His demigod bloodline and golden Kuan sacred body were profound and mysterious. A ripple of water surrounded Zhao Feng's body, and a layer of purple scales appeared on his body, making it seem like he was wearing a suit of armor. The blood within his body shook, but with his water bloodline and purple scale grass, his injuries weren't very obvious. These 2 brats. Solemnness finally appeared on King Dark Snake's face. Zhao Feng and the child demigod's physical defense was monstrous, and he couldn't see through them. Sky-destroying golden fist. The child demigod suddenly turned into a beam of golden light that shot toward the abyss above his head. He punched out, and a beam of golden light pierced into the abyss. Preposterous! King Dark Snake roared in anger. The child demigod's body was just too small. However, the body of the child demigod contained a terrifying golden body, and his fist intent was extraordinary. Every time he attacked, he would hit the vitals. He couldn't help but suspect if this child was a reincarnation of an emperor or if he had regained his youth. Wong boom! The abyss started to shake, and a crack appeared in the middle. The demigod Kuan Yun's body was tiny, but he was able to circle around the 3 demonic snakes. Pung! Pung! Boom! His figure swayed, his footwork was profound. The magnificent golden fist light was like a mountain pillar, overbearing and disdainful. It had a kind of power that could crush everything in the world. Don't even think about it. King Dark Snake snickered coldly as he waved his staff and locked down the child demigod with his magnificent power. Finally, the child demigod's movements slowed down, and he was forced into a passive state. However, right at this moment, lightning wings flying technique. An illusory streak of lightning wings flapped at high speed, breaking through the shackles of space. In a flash, it disappeared from the domain power of the dark fog abyss. Not good. King Dark Snake's expression changed dramatically. Most of his attention was on the child demigod, and he didn't pay attention to Zhao Feng. Lightning wings flying technique. Whoosh whoosh. A pair of scarlet annihilation wings that were 20 meters long flew in front of the Dark Snake King. Close combat. A destructive scarlet palm light struck the Dark Serpent King like a whirlwind of fire and lightning. It's not that simple. King Dark Snake snickered lightly as he stabbed the staff in his hand into the ground, and a layer of black mist formed a barrier that protected him. Poof! Boom! Zhao Feng's palm was like a scarlet whirlwind that charged into the dark circle. The dark ring of light around King Dark Snake's body shook, but it wasn't instantly torn to shreds as expected. Zhao Feng felt as if his palm had fallen into another dimension, like a rock sinking into the ocean. Spatial domain. His expression changed dramatically as he reacted. That palm just now could kill a king, or at the very least severely injure one. However, King Dark Snake was a domain-level king, and he immediately activated his defenses. This way, Zhao Feng's attack was blocked by his spatial domain. Bam! King Dark Snake harumphed as he was sent flying dozens of yards by Zhao Feng's punch. Although the damage he took was blocked by the spatial domain, the power of Zhao Feng's Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning had reached an incredible level. The power of the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning that Zhao Feng had comprehended 70% was close to the Wind Lightning Emperor's Golden Wind Lightning. Even if it was a city, it could be annihilated into ashes. Furthermore, the spatial domain of a king hadn't truly materialized yet. Junior, I didn't expect you to have comprehended the Wind Lightning inheritance to such a level. If you join the Dark Dragon King, you might have a chance to live. King Darksnake's expression was grim. The attack just now had only injured him lightly. However, the Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning burned fiercely, and an aura of destruction wreaked havoc in his body. Wind Lightning Wings slash. Zhao Feng used his own method to answer him, leaving behind an afterimage. Shua! Shua! In the void, the sharp shadow of a pair of lightning wings flashed and disappeared. Whoosh! The Dark Snake King didn't have the strength to dodge and was swept away by the Scarlet Lightning Wings. The Wind Lightning Wings slash was one of the techniques of the Wings of Wind and Lightning. See? King Dark Snake screamed as a bloody gash was left on his body that extended from his head to his stomach. If it wasn't for the protection of his spatial domain, the Wind Lightning Wings slash would have sliced off at least half of his body. However, even then, King Raven Snake was also heavily injured. Golden Emperor's Fist. The child demigod turned into a streak of golden light and charged toward King Dark Snake from the other side. Retreat. King Dark Snake's expression changed drastically. He waved the staff in his hand, and a thick layer of dark fog enveloped the surrounding 50 kilometers, blotting out the sun. Zhao Feng and the child demigod's senses were blocked by the mist. A few breaths later, King Dark Snake appeared on the dark battleship 100 miles away with a pale face. It's hard to kill a domain-level king, even if we team up. The child demigod sighed. That's not necessarily true. Zhao Feng didn't think much of it, and a dark silver bow appeared in his hand. There were mysterious carvings on it, and the bowstring glittered with a cold, golden light. Chapter 697. Seeing Zhao Feng's actions, the expression of the child demigod changed slightly. The sky-locking bow was a powerful weapon that the demigod Kuan Yun had collected when he was still alive. Naturally, he understood the characteristics and advantages of this bow. 1. Zhao Feng held the sky-locking bow in his hand, and on the dark silver body of the bow, there were carvings that glittered and formed a picture of a tadpole. His other hand surged Scarlet Destruction True Yuan into the bow as he pulled the bowstring. In an instant, a bright golden arrow formed on the bowstring, and a layer of Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning surrounded it and intertwined with the silver inscriptions on the bow. The child demigod felt a piercing pain in his heart as he felt a piercing pain in his heart. The sky-locking bow started to glow with gold and silver as its aura rose to a maximum. Zhao Feng's left eye glittered with a faint purple light as his mental energy merged with the sky-locking bow. At this moment, he also used a wisp of his eye bloodline power. That's King Dark Snake, who was 100 kilometers away, suddenly felt a chill in his heart. He felt as if a sharp aura that could pierce through the heavens had locked onto him. Whoosh! Zhao Feng released the bowstring, and with a flash of silver, the golden arrow flashed with a layer of Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning. In the next instant, the golden arrow shot through the air and pierced into the dark warship. Not good. King Darksnake's expression changed dramatically as his heart went cold. A layer of dark light around his body fused with the defense of the space domain. At the same time, he moved 100 yards away. However, the arrow had locked onto his soul, so he couldn't dodge it even if he moved through space. Shua! The golden arrow brought with it a sharp aura that seemed to be able to pierce through the heavens and earth. Scarlet Destruction Lightning surrounded it as it pierced through the Dark Snake King's body. Ow! King Dark Snake's body froze, and his voice was hoarse. A golden arrow pierced through his heart, and a layer of Scarlet Destruction Wind Lightning started to spread. The barrier around him and his spatial domain didn't seem to have much of an effect. A domain-level king couldn't dodge at all in front of that arrow. Targets locked onto by the sky-locking bow can't dodge. A spatial domain without materialization is useless against the sky-locking bow. The child demigod murmured. He felt apprehension in his heart. He hadn't expected Zhao Feng to successfully control the sky-locking bow and display its characteristics. As far as he could remember, the requirements to use the sky lock bow were extremely harsh. Without a special eye bloodline or talent in the soul, it would be extremely difficult to gain the recognition of the bow and use its true power. However, Zhao Feng's God Spiritual, I was extremely compatible with the sky-locking bow. So what if he's a king tier? Zhao Feng put down the sky-locking bow, the faint purple in his left eye fading away. An eye bloodline like profound insight didn't have much of an effect on eye bloodline power. Even so, Zhao Feng was still very cautious. Lord Dark Snake King. The Dark Light worship was in chaos. The pirates turned pale with fright. King Dark Snake's life force quickly dissipated as the golden arrows and scarlet destruction wind lightning burned and spread throughout his body. Zhao Feng was very confident in this arrow. The bowstring of the sky lock bow contained extreme metal elemental energy. It was incomparably sharp, and its penetrative power was unstoppable. Adding on the fact that Zhao Feng had condensed his scarlet destruction wind lightning onto the arrow, its power was extremely concentrated. This arrow couldn't be dodged, and it hit King Dark Snake's heart. Sky locking bow. Shock appeared in King Dark Snake's eyes as he understood why he had lost. However, he wasn't truly in despair. I won't let you go. The light in King Dark Snake's eyes suddenly disappeared. Master, he's not truly dead. The child demigod suddenly thought of something and said. As soon as he finished speaking, a surge of king intent and soul power flashed from King Dark Snake's body. In the air, one could faintly see a spiritual body flying through the air with the help of king intent. Yuan's soul void escape. Zhao Feng's expression changed as he finally understood. After reaching the void god realm, one soul would merge with heaven and earth and form a Yuan soul. Yuan souls were far stronger than normal souls, and they could travel through the air and even have a certain amount of battle power. With the help of King Intent and the Yuan soul's spiritual body, its flying speed was more than 10 times faster than normal. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, King Dark Snake's Yuan soul flew several hundred miles. Master, your sky-locking bow has a strong ability to lock onto and counter Yuan souls. The child demigod warned. If it was under normal circumstances, Zhao Feng would only be able to watch as the Yuan soul of a king escaped. This was because Yuan souls weren't physical life forms, and they were extremely fast. Even Zhao Feng would find it hard to catch up to them. Once the Yuan soul escaped, it would be able to find a new host's body and reincarnate. Stay here. Zhao Feng pulled the sky-locking bow once more, and a faint purple aura flashed through his left eye. No! King Dark Snake, who was several hundred miles away, felt his Yuan soul go cold, and he felt uneasy, as if it had been locked onto. No matter how fast he flew, he didn't feel safe at all. The sky-locking bow had the name of locking the sky, and when it reached the highest level, it could lock down heaven and earth. Whoosh! A blinding golden arrow instantly flashed through several hundred miles, and it seemed to have the ability to break through the restrictions of space. Ark! King Dark Snake's Yuan soul screamed as it was pierced by the arrow and turned into thousands of fragments that turned everything within 100 miles into a vacuum. Kill a king. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. This was the first time he had killed a void god realm king. Although the child demigod teamed up, the king he killed was at the domain level and was stronger than normal kings. Go! Zhao Feng put away the sky-locking bow and ordered the child demigod and the skeletal division leader to finish off the dark worship. He then flew over to collect King Dark Snake's spoils of war. Soon, Zhao Feng found a black gold bracelet. The space inside wasn't much different from an ancient metal ring. The wealth of a domain-level king wasn't simple, let alone a pirate king. Not bad, not bad. Zhao Feng put away the black gold bracelet. The treasures inside could be said to be enormous. After the demigod Forgotten Garden, Zhao Feng had to provide for himself at the same time. The little thieving cat and demigod Kuan Yin were both a bit nervous. Now, after obtaining the wealth of a pirate king, they recovered a bit. This is Zhao Feng's god spiritual. I saw a token made of a unique material that wasn't damaged in the explosion of the Yuan soul. The token was completely white, and it seemed to be made of bone. It also gave off a metallic glow. On one side of the token was a skeleton. On the other side was a layer of lotus flames, and in the middle was the word King. Pirate King token. Information appeared in Zhao Feng's mind as he held the token. At the same time, he felt the auras of the other 17 Pirate King tokens spread across the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land. On the other side, the Skeletal Division leader and the Child Demigod were currently killing the pirates on the Dark Warship. There were several half-step kings among the pirates, and they could fight against normal kings if they teamed up. However, after King Darksnake's death, these people panicked and lost their pillar of support. Some fled, while others died. The Skeletal Division leader controlled the Ghost Corp's cursed array and devoured the essence and souls of sovereigns and sovereign lords. Amidst the gloomy Ghost Corp's flame cloud, the Ghost Corp's energy and resentment power were rising. Zhao Feng purposely made the Skeletal Division leader devour King Darksnake's corpse and the fragments of his Yuan soul. This way, the Ghost Corp's cursed array was equivalent to devouring half a king. The Ghost Corp's aura and hatred reached a terrifying level. Not long after, the Dark Warship was taken over by Zhao Feng. But this token, Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. This Pirate King token couldn't be put into the interspatial dimension, and its aura was connected to the Pirate Sacred Land. When Zhao Feng returned to the ghost ship, the Pirate King token in his hand suddenly sensed something. The ghost ship also trembled with excitement. Zhao Feng's ghost ship was the original form of a pirate ship. As a legendary pirate ship, it had a certain amount of intelligence. At this moment, the two auras were compatible. Being the captain, Zhao Feng instinctively felt that the Pirate King token in his hand and the ghost ship had reached some sort of agreement. Wang, a layer of ethereal lotus flame, appeared on the surface of the Pirate King token and turned into a special mark. With a whoosh, it merged into the ghost ship. What's going on? Zhao Feng and company felt the ghost ship shake. Immediately after, the aura of the ghost ship became more and more savage, and it formed a mysterious connection with the pirate sacred land. Master, the ship's performance has increased, the Skeletal Division leader said joyfully. Through this battle, Zhao Feng's capital, the power of the Ghost Corp's cursed array, and the ship's performance had all increased. This should have been something to be happy about. However, Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. He felt that the ghost ship had become a part of the pirate sacred land. Although its performance had increased, it had lost its freedom. Right at this moment, a stormy aura appeared in front of them. Who, a legendary pirate ship, even larger than the Dark Serpent King's ship, rode the wind and waves. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled as it attracted a cold moonlight and pressed over. A silver-white ship covered in cold moonlight appeared in their vision. It was 1 to 200 yards long. Its existence caused the nearby waves to tremble. Wind howled, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. It was as if the ship was the king of the pirate sacred land. The enormous silver-white ship was like a huge cold moon in the void sea. A cold, murderous aura permeated the entire sea. Everyone on the ghost ship felt a coldness and a feeling of being small. You've killed the Dark Snake King and become the new Pirate King. You're now a part of the pirate sacred land. Are you interested in joining me, the Cold Moon King? A cold and decisive woman's voice resounded in the void ocean. Only to see. At the head of the silver-white ship was a silver-robed female with a sword and blade on her back. The silver-robed woman had a flawless and icy face, an exquisite and delicate body, a pair of perfectly straight legs, perfect lines, and a posture of intersecting swords and sabers. She looked valiant and formidable, and she was surrounded by a layer of icy cold moonlight. Her eyes were like crescent moons, and she radiated an aura of killing. Zhao Feng and company were all stunned by what they saw. This was because of the silver-robed female's unique charm. Her powerful aura merged with the ship. This woman is a peak-tier king. The child demigod was slightly wary. Chapter 698. Zhao Feng didn't think that this beautiful and charming silver-robed female was one of the 3 pirate lords, the Cold Moon King. The 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land had a total of 18 pirate lords, and they were all Void God Realm kings. Among the many pirate kings, the 3 giants stood out. They were the Giant Whale King, the Dark Dragon King, and the Cold Moon King. All 3 of them were peak-tier kings, and they had the chance to break through to the peak Void God Realm. Peak-tier kings are unrivaled against those below emperors, and they even have the chance to challenge emperors. Zhao Feng's expression became solemn. The pressure that the Cold Moon King gave him was several times stronger than normal kings. Boom. There were also 2 large legendary ships on the left and right of the silver-white ship, and both of them had kings. Of the 3 Void God Realm kings, the Cold Moon King was a peak-tier king, and there was also a domain-level king and a normal king. With such a lineup and a huge fleet of warships, it was enough to wipe out an ordinary 2-star sect. Brat, it's your honor to be recognized by the Cold Moon King. On a ship to the side, a bearded, middle-aged man grumbled in dissatisfaction. The Cold Moon King was the #1 beauty in the pirate's sacred land, and she was an ice beauty whose name shook the 10,000 Abyss Island zone. Compared to her beauty and perfect figure, her reputation for killing made even more experts tremble in fear. Hee, you're forcing me to join again? Is this the tyrannical style of you pirates? Zhao Feng's smile contained coldness. The Dark Snake King had wanted to force Zhao Feng to join the Dark Dragon King or take over this ship. Master, that peak-tier king isn't someone we can deal with. Unless you let me merge with demigod intent, we might have a chance. The child demigod broke out in cold sweat and warned. It wasn't easy for them to kill a domain-level king just now, and there was some luck involved. Although the sky-locking bow was strong, it was a long-range weapon. The Cold Moon King was obviously a close-combat peak-tier king, and she had the advantage in numbers. Once they attacked together, Zhao Feng and company wouldn't be able to fight back. Brat, you're digging your own grave. You've offended both the Dark Dragon King and the Giant Shark King. Joining the Cold Moon King is your only choice. On another ship, a golden-haired man coldly snorted in disdain. This golden-haired man was a domain-level king. Zhao Feng sensed that the golden-haired man had a Pirate King token in his hand. Evidently, he was one of the 18 Corners Pirate Kings. The Cold Moon King raised her hand and stopped the golden-haired male. There was a confident smile in her eyes. Sir, your ship has fused with the aura of the Pirate King token and has become a part of the Pirate Holy Land. You will not be able to leave the 18 Corners Holy Land. This is the arrangement of the first Pirate Emperor. There has never been an exception. The Cold Moon King's voice was cold as her silver cloak fluttered in the wind, giving off a cold and murderous aura. Ordinary kings were unable to look her in the eye. Hearing this, Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly. When the Pirate King token's aura entered the ghost ship, he felt like he had lost control. Since then, the ghost ship was unable to leave the 18 Corners Canyon. For you to be able to kill Dark Snake King, I can see that you are quite powerful. If you join us, the 18 Pirate King tokens will be redistributed after the Pirate Emperor battle is over. At that time, your ship will no longer be restricted. Cold Moon King said calmly. Zhao Feng frowned and fell into deep thought. If he lost the Ghost Corp's ship, he wouldn't have a more suitable ship. The Dark Light warship was too big, hard to control, and too eye-catching. I, the Cold Moon King, am someone who rewards and punishes fairly. If I obtain the throne of the Pirate Emperor and enter the Pirate Emperor's sacred land, I will be able to obtain the Pirate Emperor's sacred land. When the time comes, you will definitely get your share of the benefits. The Cold Moon King's expression was cold, but she didn't say anything as she tried to tempt him. Zhao Feng and the child demigod exchanged glances. Under the current situation, joining the Cold Moon King was the best choice. Zhao Feng had offended the Giant Whale King and the Dark Dragon King's factions, and the Ghost Corp ship could not leave the 18 Corners Holy Land. The only person he hadn't offended, the Cold Moon King, came again and extended an olive branch. If you want me to join, there's a condition. Zhao Feng's tone suddenly changed after a moment of thought. What is it? The Cold Moon King wasn't surprised. An expert like Zhao Feng, who was also a new pirate king, was someone that any pirate king would want to recruit. The Dark Dragon King was impossible because he had a close relationship with the Dark Snake King. On the other hand, the Giant Shark King would still open the door to Zhao Feng. The Cold Moon King would do her best to satisfy Zhao Feng's conditions. I only have the right to join as long as you defeat me, Zhao Feng said calmly. The Cold Moon King and company were instantly surprised. They didn't expect Zhao Feng to make such a request. The child demigod couldn't help but think. Zhao Feng probably had his own plans. Sure, if you win, I, the Cold Moon King, will help you obtain the Pirate Emperor's throne. If you lose, you'll join us. The Cold Moon King was very straightforward. She understood that experts like Zhao Feng only believed in strength. If she could use her strength to make him submit, she would be able to obtain his loyalty. In comparison, this kind of person was much simpler and wouldn't think too much. However, what she didn't know was that Zhao Feng was doing this on purpose. In the air above the limitless ocean, there was an empty space dozens of miles around the center of the four ships. Zhao Feng and the Cold Moon King looked at each other. Zhezhe, this brat overestimates himself. He hasn't even reached the Void God Realm, but he dares to challenge the Cold Moon King? The bearded middle-aged king had a playful expression. On the other side, the domain-level golden-haired male also had a mocking expression. Wings of wind and lightning. A pair of scarlet-colored wings formed behind Zhao Feng's back. They were like skeletal wings, and a scarlet-colored whirlwind surrounded him, giving off a chaotic aura that seemed capable of destroying heaven and earth. Shua! Shua! All that was left was Zhao Feng's scarlet-colored wind shadow. So fast, the experts below the Cold Moon King couldn't help but exclaim. The expressions of the golden-haired male and the bearded male started to become solemn. Lightning wings wind flash. Zhao Feng's speed increased dramatically as the wings of wind and lightning flapped, and the scarlet-colored whirlwind became more and more chaotic. In his vision, the Cold Moon King's face was cold and murderous. Her figure was slender and straight, and her voluptuous breasts revealed a slight cleavage. Her long legs and round but formed a perfect line. Zhao Feng had to admit that the Cold Moon King had the most perfect figure he had ever seen. Moreover, that valiant and resolute personality had a different kind of personal charm. Facing Zhao Feng's insane speed, the Cold Moon King's expression was cold, and her perfect figure tensed up. Boom! The Scarlet Destruction lightning wings flapped at high speed and created a destructive scarlet-colored whirlwind that slammed toward the Cold Moon King. Everything within a radius of 1,000 feet was enveloped. The Cold Moon King stood proudly and didn't dodge. A crescent sword that was as thin as jade appeared in her hand. Cold Moon unparalleled. The crescent sword's edge cut through the void, and a cold sword chi radiance, like the cold moonlight, penetrated through all openings. That sword was as fast as lightning, and its momentum was shocking. An expanse of space was enveloped by the icy cold moonlight sword radiance, and it fell into a starry world that was covered in frost and moons. Whoosh! Whoosh! The scarlet-colored whirlwind around Zhao Feng was instantly destroyed, and the wings of wind and lightning on his back were pierced by countless tiny specks of moonlight. His figure froze on the spot. In the void around him, the cold moon sword radiance led a frost-like space domain. Did I lose? Zhao Feng felt as if his flesh and blood were being sealed by limitless cold sword aura. A crescent sword that was as thin as jade was only half an inch away from Zhao Feng's throat. That ice-cold sword energy seemed to penetrate his soul sea. "You lost." The Cold Moon King smiled faintly and put away the crescent sword. Zhao Feng expressionlessly merged the power of his spatial domain into the Cold Moon King's sword. That sword was enough to kill normal kings. Furthermore, he could tell that the Cold Moon King walked the path of the sword and saber. Only by combining the sword and saber could the Cold Moon King unleash her true strength. In that state, she had a chance to challenge an emperor. Of course, Zhao Feng didn't use his lightning wings spatial technique or his eye bloodline in that attack just now. This is a peak-tier king. If I don't use my eye bloodline, I'm not his match. Zhao Feng's heart shook. Although he was fast, the Cold Moon King was also an expert in speed. If he didn't use his eye bloodline, he wouldn't have any advantage against the Cold Moon King. Peak-tier kings stood at the peak of kings, and their strength was closest to an emperor. You're indeed very strong. I'll temporarily join and help you fight for the Pirate Emperor position. Zhao Feng nodded his head in agreement. He admired the Cold Moon King's strength. You're welcome to join. I, the Cold Moon King, won't mistreat any of my subordinates. A rare smile appeared on the Cold Moon King's cold face, and it was filled with praise. She admired Zhao Feng's calmness and confidence in his strength. Although he had lost, Zhao Feng wasn't discouraged at all. "Brat, welcome." The golden-haired male and the bearded middle-aged male smiled as they walked over and patted his shoulder. Zhao Feng brought the child demigod into the hall of the Cold Moon King's ship. Within the hall, the Cold Moon King sat on her throne. Her long and slender legs were as white as jade. They were exquisite, yet firm and powerful. Below her, the golden-haired male, the bearded middle-aged male, and Zhao Feng all sat down. Although Zhao Feng wasn't a king, he had killed the Black Snake King, so no one dared to underestimate him. Therefore, Zhao Feng's status was on the same level as the other kings present. Zhao Feng and the upper echelon of the Cold Moon King's faction got to know each other. The battle for the Pirate Emperor has already started. Some neutral pirate kings haven't made a move yet. However, the Giant Shark King and the Dark Dragon King's forces have started to move. The Cold Moon King slowly said. Zhao Feng knew that the Cold Moon King was explaining the situation of the 18 Corners pirate sacred land to him. The three pirate kings all had their own forces, but there were also some independent pirate kings. In reality, Zhao Feng wasn't very interested in the Pirate Emperor's inheritance. Only true pirates could obtain the Pirate Emperor's inheritance. He wanted to increase his strength through fighting, so that the curse of 100 corpses would grow stronger through the slaughter. Which one of the pirate kings wasn't experienced in battle and had killed countless people? He would meet many strong enemies on the battlefield. The Cold Moon King then started to explain the rules of the battle for the Pirate Emperor. As she listened, Zhao Feng's expression changed. He realized that he had underestimated the Pirate Emperor's inheritance. Chapter 699. When mentioning the Pirate Emperor, any pirate in the 18 Corners Pirate Sacred Land would give him a thumbs up and worship him from the bottom of their hearts. No matter if it was a pirate or a pirate king, there was no exception. The story of the Pirate Emperor could be written into a legendary history book. Not only was the Pirate Emperor a peak emperor, he was also a mechanisms grandmaster, an array grandmaster, and specialized in spatial techniques. He was like an all-rounder. The Cold Moon King had a rare look of worship on her face. In that era, the Pirate Emperor was extremely strong, and his charisma was extraordinary. Apparently, the Floating Dreams Sacred Land's young mistresses were all bewitched by him. One had to know that those families were almost as strong as 3-star powers, and they had Mystic Light Realm sacred lords in their history. However, the Pirate Emperor wasn't a pirate at the start, but a mechanisms grandmaster. More accurately speaking, he was a grave robber. Zhao Feng could imagine that a mechanisms grandmaster would be able to do very well in the business of robbing tombs. The Pirate Emperor was very lucky and managed to dig up many ancient tombs, including some ruins. Several decades later, his mastery of arrays had reached the level of a grandmaster, and he also specialized in spatial techniques. He managed to dig up some forgotten secret realms and little worlds. According to rumors, the Pirate Emperor even found a secret realm left behind by the Heaven's Legacy race. The Heaven's Legacy race was a race ranked third among the 10,000 ancient races. If the ancient races had the most perfect bloodline and unparalleled power, then the Heaven's Legacy race had the highest intelligence. Hearing that, Zhao Feng's heart shook. After becoming rich through grave robbing, the Pirate Emperor's strength increased by leaps and bounds, and he became an all-rounder. Later, he became a pirate and became the famous Pirate Emperor. In that era, the Pirate Emperor was an omnipotent god who looked down on the world. He even destroyed several two-star sects, including a peak two-star sect. The Great Pirate Emperor pushed the space pirates to a golden age. The wealth he accumulated was dozens or even 100 times that of normal emperors. Some of the pirates in the hall were very excited as they chatted with each other. What they cared about was the Pirate Emperor's wealth. Some people even said that the Pirate Emperor's wealth could be compared to the floating dream Sacred Land's 3-star sections. But all of this was buried in the dust of history. Only in the Pirate Emperor battle that happened once every 300 years, when the Pirate Emperor's Sacred Land opened, could one see the tip of the iceberg. The Pirate Emperor is so powerful that he can be said to be omnipotent. Then how'd he die? A cold voice interrupted the enthusiasm of the pirates. This voice came from Zhao Feng. The hall fell into a momentary silence. The Pirate Emperor is a mystic light realm sacred lord that died in the floating dream Sacred Land. The mood of the pirates was slightly downcast. Mystic light realm sacred lord. That was a level that surpassed the Great Emperor realm and was only one step away from the heavenly divine realm. A weird light flashed through the child demigod's eyes. In his memory, he had some impression of this matter. He even knew that mystic light realm sacred lord, so he remembered what the Pirate Emperor had done. However, the demigod Kuan Yin was even stronger than normal sacred lords at his peak, and he had half a step into the heavenly divine realm. The Pirate Emperor was severely injured while being chased by mystic light realm sacred lord, and he used a mysterious item from the Heaven's Legacy inheritance to escape. Before he died, he set up his own Pirate Emperor inheritance. The Cold Moon King murmured. Hearing that, Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. Mystic light realm sacred lords were just too powerful. The Wind Lightning Emperor and the Pirate Emperor had both been at the top of their generation. However, they were too high profile and offended a 3-star sacred land, forcing a mystic light realm sacred lord to personally take action. According to what Zhao Feng knew, the mystic light realm sacred lords of the Song Ocean were all in seclusion to deal with the god tribulation. If it wasn't necessary, mystic light realm sacred lords wouldn't care about what was going on. The only thing that could interest them was the domain of God, the heavenly god position. Zhao Feng had stayed in the mystic true sacred clan for a while, but he had never seen the Grand Elder. Of course, peak emperors like the Wind Lightning Emperor and the Pirate Emperor were able to make a mystic light realm sacred lord take action. From this, one could see how terrifying their battle power was. However, another question popped up in Zhao Feng's head. Why didn't the other emperors touch the Pirate Emperor's inheritance? Mystic light realm sacred lords might be disdainful. However, some 2-star sects and martial monarchs might be interested in it. The Pirate Emperor's plans are extremely grand. He's an array grandmaster, a mechanism grandmaster, and he even received the inheritance of the Heaven's Legacy race. Only pirates can inherit the inheritance of his layout. If an outsider emperor enters the Pirate Emperor's sacred land, they will be attacked. 1,000 years ago, a martial monarch almost died from the backlash. Once a power surpasses an emperor's, the Pirate Emperor's sacred land will be destroyed. Even sacred lords are wary. Everyone began to talk at the same time, explaining the reason. All in all, over the past tens of thousands of years, only the pirates of the 18 Corners Canyon were able to obtain some of the Pirate Emperor's inheritance or wealth. Furthermore, As the pirate's sacred land fell, the experts of the spiritual sacred land didn't have the time to care about what happened here. There was another reason. Every time the pirate emperor's inheritance opened, the inheritor would be tested and given a corresponding reward. The inheritance and resources that came out weren't that shocking, but they were enough to attract some peak emperors. Of course, there was another important reason why the pirate emperor's inheritance was so attractive. That was, every inheritor of the pirate emperor's inheritance would be able to quickly become an emperor in just a few years to 10 years. If they were a normal emperor, they could become a peak emperor. That was a fatal temptation to the pirate kings of all sides. Interesting. Zhao Feng couldn't help but become interested in the pirate emperor's inheritance. The fight for the pirate emperor's throne had its own rules. One had to gather at least 9 pirate king tokens, which was half the number of pirate king tokens, in order to enter the pirate emperor's sacred land. The pirate king tokens couldn't be taken out of the 18 Corners pirate sacred land. This was the pirate emperor's plan. Once it was broken, it was the same as going against the power of heaven and earth in the 18 Corners Canyon. Furthermore, only the legendary ships of the 18 Corners pirate kings could enter the pirate emperor's sacred land. Zhao Feng couldn't help but remember that his ghost ship had merged with the aura of the pirate king token and couldn't leave the 18 Corners pirate emperor's sacred land. As expected, this was the reason. This meant that he had to participate in the fight for the pirate emperor's throne. Zhao Feng, familiarize yourself with the environment and let your ship work with our ship, the Cold Moon King ordered. Zhao Feng nodded his head and returned to the ghost ship. He didn't need to participate in the battle right now. He just needed to familiarize himself with the environment and join the Cold Moon King's side. The Cold Moon King had a total of 4 kings, including herself. Including Zhao Feng, she had 3 pirate king tokens. However, this wasn't enough. One needed to gather at least 9 pirate king tokens to enter the pirate emperor's sacred land. Therefore, the fight for the pirate emperor's throne had to be filled with blood. Over at the ghost ship, Zhao Feng told the skeletal division leader about the situation. As for merging the pirate ship with the Cold Moon King, he left it to the skeletal division leader. Because of this, Zhao Feng increased the amount of resources he gave the skeletal division leader to help it increase its cultivation and refine its bones. Zhao Feng had gained a lot from killing a domain-level king not long ago, so he was quite generous. Within the captain's room, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and thought back to his fight with the Black Snake King and the Cold Moon King. He was able to defeat the domain-level Black Snake King with the child demigod's help. After all, Zhao Feng couldn't use his eye bloodline. If I don't use my eye bloodline, I can protect myself in a one-on-one fight with a domain-level king, but the chances of me winning are very small. Zhao Feng concluded. If it was a peak-tier king, his chances of winning wouldn't be high, even if he used his eye bloodline. Zhao Feng's thought spun. The difference between him and a domain-level king was a spatial domain. If that's the case, then I can also form a spatial domain. A light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. He had some understanding of spatial domains, and he had even entered Duanmu Qing's little world. Duanmu Qing's little world was a materialized dimension, and it was on a higher level. With Duanmu Qing's help, Zhao Yufei had inherited the Purple Saint ruins and formed a little world with the Purple Saint partial spirit as the core. The spatial domains of normal kings aren't materialized. This shouldn't be hard for me. Zhao Feng was confident. This was because his talent was in the soul, and he specialized in soul Dao illusions. A long time ago, he had created a spatial illusion like the illusory maze. As for the space domain, one had to materialize one's intense space and even give it a certain physical form. But what kind of spatial domain do I need to merge into? Zhao Feng started to think. He had a few choices in front of him. The first was his eye bloodline, which could be formed quickly using the Illusion City maze as a template. The second was the wind-lightning domain. This required him to materialize the wind-lightning intent into a spatial domain. Zhao Feng estimated that this would take some time. The third was the ice-water bloodline. It would form a spatial domain based on his bloodline power. Zhao Feng estimated that since his ice-water bloodline specialized in defense and control, it would be the same if it was formed into a spatial domain. After thinking about it, Zhao Feng decided to create the Illusion City maze first. This spatial domain can use my soul dimension advantage. More importantly, it can increase my strength in a short amount of time. Zhao Feng nodded his head. For the next 2 days, Zhao Feng went into seclusion to perfect the Illusion City maze template. Purple Soul Sea. Zhao Feng's thoughts split into dozens of thoughts and started to simulate. An illusory maze shrouded in fog appeared in his mind. The complete state of the illusory labyrinth was 100 li in radius. Illusory mist was hazy, and there were layers upon layers of illusions that could cause living beings to fall into them, unable to free themselves. Zhao Feng put in more soul power, and the outline of the Illusion City maze became clearer. Before, the Illusion City maze was just an illusion. Now a layer of illusion appeared in the Illusion City maze. With Zhao Feng's intent as the core, the Illusion City maze could merge with heaven and earth and become more tangible. At a certain moment, the outline of the Illusion City maze appeared on the outside of the ghost ship. At first, the illusory figure was faintly discernible. Then, as if it had sunk into the heavens and earth, a majestic aura of a king appeared. What's going on? The skeletal division leader found that it had entered a half-empty Illusion City. That's way too fast. The child demigod was tongue-tied. Zhao Feng had managed to form the basic space domain of the soul element so quickly. So this is talent. Zhao Feng also felt that this was inconceivable. Creating a soul-type spatial domain seemed to be an instinct to him. Chapter 700. The child demigod looked around at the misty Illusion City, which seemed to overlap with heaven and earth. In his eyes, a spatial domain of this level was naturally not worth mentioning. However, to be able to create a spatial domain so quickly, even if it was just an embryonic form, it would be very difficult to find one or two in his memory. For normal kings that had just reached the void god realm, forming a spatial domain required the strength of their soul, mental energy, understanding of space, and even their own comprehension and creativity. Anyway, there were many requirements to create a spatial domain, and the conditions were harsh. Unless they were like Nan Gongsheng, who had a spatial spiritual body and specialized in spatial techniques, they would be able to form spatial domains quickly after becoming a king. Or maybe Zhao Yufei had the fortune to create a little world with the purple Saint Partial Spirit as the core and the help of a peak emperor. Maybe this is the talent of Zhao Feng's soul eye bloodline. His soul, perception, and understanding of space have all met the requirements. The child demigod thought to himself, even if it was him, he couldn't form a spatial domain right now. There were some conditions that he hadn't met yet, unless he could obtain the will of a demigod. In the next 2 days, the outline of the illusory maze became clearer and more solid. Zhao Feng's space domain shrank and only covered the entire Ghost Corp ship. The skeletal division leader was in the Illusion City maze, and it was hard to tell which one was real. Only the child demigod could see that the Illusion City maze was a dimension between reality and illusion. Whoosh! With a thought, Zhao Feng withdrew the fantasy maze domain. Once I activate the illusion maze domain, all enemies who approach me will be affected, and they might even lose themselves. If I attack with the power of this domain, every punch and palm will form a powerful illusionary force of the Soul Dao that will greatly weaken my opponent's combat strength. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed as he analyzed the power of the fantasy maze domain. Soul Dao domains were rather obscure, and very few kings succeeded in forming them. With this illusion maze domain, Zhao Feng had the ability to fight multiple kings at once. Experts whose soul was weaker or similar to his would be affected by the illusion maze domain. Adding on the mobility of the wings of wind and lightning, he would be able to deal with a few normal kings. Soul Sea World. Zhao Feng continued to perfect the illusion maze domain in this enclosed space. In less than 10 days, Zhao Feng's illusory maze domain became clearer and more solid, and the scenes within it became more detailed. Whoosh! Zhao Feng entered the illusion maze domain with a little thieving cat. The palace was shrouded in mist, and the range of visibility was no more than 10 zhang. In the illusory maze, there were palace walls and forks everywhere. The terrain was complicated, and he could hear the ancient and melodious mermaid song. Meow meow. The little thieving cat bared its teeth and roared. It wandered around the illusion maze domain and actually found an inn with people in it. Of course, the people in the inn were all virtual. If I can reach the great perfection empty God realm, I will be able to materialize everything here. Zhao Feng couldn't help but murmur. If he could materialize his domain, then he would have the ability to create a dimension. No wonder Duan Muqing said that this ability wasn't too far away for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng let the little thieving cat in because he wanted it to help him find some flaws. The spatial domain was huge, and it was a dimension that he had created himself. It was inevitable that there would be some flaws when it was first formed. Luckily, the current structure of the spatial domain was relatively simple, and there weren't many flaws. It wasn't a true dimension, and it didn't have any form of life or laws. The more one progressed, the easier it would be for flaws to appear. For example, the Purple Saint Ruins. Zhao Feng believed that the demigod Forgotten Garden would have some flaws as well. Otherwise, Meng Shi's purple scaled jade horn would be able to control the beasts in the demigod Forgotten Garden. Master's illusion maze domain isn't any weaker than normal domain level kings. The child demigod also came in and gave Zhao Feng some thoughts. For this, Zhao Feng would give the child demigod some resources. As long as the child demigod could give Zhao Feng any method to increase his strength, he would receive resources. Zhao Feng did this to increase the child demigod's enthusiasm. After all, under normal circumstances, he would restrict the child demigod's resources. Zhao Feng wasn't satisfied after the illusion maze domain was completed. The illusion maze domain is a soul Dao domain. If I don't restrain myself, it will increase the danger of the pursuit of death. Zhao Feng knew that it was best not to use the illusion maze domain casually. After that, he started to think about other domains. The other two domains were the Wind Lightning domain and the Bloodline domain. Since the illusion maze domain had been completed, Zhao Feng wouldn't be at a disadvantage if he tried to create other domains. Multiple domains? The expression of the child demigod was extremely colorful when he heard Zhao Feng's thoughts. A man who was never content was like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. This Zhao Feng wasn't even a true king, but he had already created a space domain. However, he wasn't satisfied with just one spatial domain and wanted to create a second one. In theory, dual domains and multiple domains can exist together. However, very few kings and emperors would do that. The child demigod shook his head. Creating a spatial domain required a lot of time and effort. Normal kings didn't even have a spatial domain yet. Creating one wasn't easy, so they didn't have the time to create multiple. Specialization was the shortcut to reaching the peak. Those who had reached the void god realm understood this logic and would walk further and further in a certain domain. For example, creating a few spatial domains would give them an advantage in terms of numbers, but they wouldn't be able to take a single blow from a higher tier spatial domain or an emperor's little world. On this level, quality was more important than quantity. So, this means that I can create a dual domain. Zhao Feng had a stubborn look on his face. The child demigod rolled his eyes and didn't have the energy to explain. In reality, how could Zhao Feng not understand the logic of specialization? However, he had the talent to create a spatial domain, and he hadn't broken through yet. One more spatial domain meant one more battle power, so why not? Furthermore, his illusion maze domain couldn't be used easily. I'll choose the Wind Lightning domain for the second spatial domain. Zhao Feng made his decision. The illusion maze domain could affect the opponent's consciousness and weaken them, but it couldn't increase Zhao Feng's offensive power. On the other hand, the wind lightning domain could greatly increase Zhao Feng's battle power. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had a bold idea. He wanted to use the God Tribulation Lightning as the core of the wind lightning domain. The God Tribulation Lightning was immortal, and a spatial domain with it, as the core would be more stable and powerful than normal spatial domains. In the next few days, under the child demigod's weird gaze, Zhao Feng started to create the wind lightning domain. However, the difficulty of creating the wind lightning domain was much higher. The reason why Zhao Feng was able to create the illusion maze domain so quickly was because of his talent in the soul and the illusion maze. However, the wind lightning domain wasn't a soul Dao domain. This required Zhao Feng to comprehend the intent of wind lightning and create a brand new domain. The difficulty is at least 10 times higher. Zhao Feng felt that this was troublesome. However, he didn't give up. With Zhao Feng's talent in the Tao of the soul and the 10,000 divine thoughts technique, he had a huge advantage in creating a spatial domain. Several days later, only the blurry outline of the wind lightning domain appeared in Zhao Feng's soul sea, and it was still far from forming. At the same time, he circulated the 10,000 divine thoughts technique. In the soul sea world, the absorption of the God Tribulation lightning continued. However, Zhao Feng couldn't use up too much of his soul power, so he could only use it intermittently. On this day, a wisp of Zhao Feng's consciousness was comprehending the wisp of God Tribulation lightning within his soul sea and merging it into the Scarlet Destruction wind lightning. Suddenly, the Ghost Corp's ship shook violently. Huge waves surged outside, and a storm blew. Zhao Feng opened his eyes. "Master, our ship is working with the Cold Moon King's fleet to fight against another pirate lord," the Skeletal Division leader said. The Skeletal Division leader said, above the limitless ocean, 7 or 8 pirate ships were engaged in battle. The leader of Zhao Feng's fleet was the domain-level golden-haired male. Including Zhao Feng, the golden-haired male led 4 pirate ships. The Cold Moon King and her ship weren't part of this operation. In the middle of the opposing fleet was a rusty steel ship. It looked fierce and domineering. It was more than 1,000 feet long. On the steel ship, a pirate king covered in heavy steel armor stood proudly, revealing only a pair of deep and cold eyes. Zhao Feng could feel that this metallic pirate lord had a pirate lord token. This person was also one of the 18 Corners pirate lords. "You want to subdue me? Unless that woman, the Cold Moon King, can let me get close to her." The metallic pirate lord's voice was deep and deep. Preposterous. This guy doesn't know shame. The experts on the golden-haired male side were enraged. The Cold Moon King was the goddess in the hearts of many pirates, and she used her charm to recruit many experts. "Metallic Turtle King, looks like you're not sincere enough to join us." The golden-haired male had a dark expression. The Metallic Turtle King's reaction was weird. Normal 18 Corners pirates didn't dare to offend someone like the Cold Moon King. The golden-haired male suspected that the Metallic Turtle King might have joined one of the other 2 factions. "Metallic Turtle King? You're courting death." The Metallic Turtle King was enraged. He wasn't very happy with this title. He was especially good at defense. His steel defense was like a tortoise shell, impregnable and very difficult to deal with. Apart from the 3 heads, his defense was almost unparalleled in the Pirate Emperor's sacred land. "Fight!" Being a domain-level king, the golden-haired male immediately charged toward the Metallic Turtle King's ship. "You dare to fight me?" A weird light flashed through the Metallic Turtle King's eyes. His steel fleet had terrifying collision power and extremely strong defenses. Ordinary pirate kings were not willing to fight with him. Shwa! The 2 domain-level kings clashed in the air above the misty ocean, and a deep explosion sounded. Boom! Boom! At the same time, the steel ships charged over in a domineering and ferocious manner. "Master, the situation isn't good," the Skeletal Division leader exclaimed. The ghost corpse ship swayed and swayed in the storm, almost capsizing. Chapter 701. Compared to the legendary pirate ships of the pirate's sacred land, the ghost ship could only be considered a small ship. Only its speed was passable. The metallic pirate ships were huge, and their momentum was extremely strong. Before the ghost corpse ship even got close, the monstrous waves and gales caused the ghost ship to sway. "Our ship won't be able to stop them," the child demigod said in a low tone. The child demigod said in a low tone. Zhao Feng said to the skeletal division leader, "Leave the fleet and fight them off." Whoosh! The ghost ship instantly left the limitless ocean and traveled through the misty ocean, but still had to avoid the shockwaves from the battle between the two domain-level kings. Boom! Boom! Below, a few large ships collided with each other in the sea. The pirates from both sides started to fight. "Zhao Feng, this battle will be up to you. I'll stall the metallic turtle king," the golden-haired male said. The golden-haired male messaged. "Okay." Zhao Feng nodded his head. The reason the golden-haired male dared to fight the metallic turtle king was because he had Zhao Feng, the new pirate king. On the other hand, the metallic turtle king didn't understand the situation. Whoosh! The ghost ship was extremely agile. It charged down from the sky and unleashed the ghost corpse cursed array, attacking the metallic turtle king from the side. As soon as the ghost corpse cursed formation was activated, the dense, dark gray flames turned into countless giant tentacles. Arg! Normal pirates would instantly turn into a puddle of blood as soon as they came into contact with the ghost corpse flames, and their souls would be absorbed by the ghost corpse cursed array. The ghost corpses were nourished by the blood of the pirates, and their corpse chi became stronger. These ghost corpses had absorbed a large amount of flesh and blood from the ancient dream realm, so they had a lot of room for improvement. Golden Emperor's Fist, the child demigod, who was only 2 or 3 years old, stood proudly on the ghost ship and started to fight against the pirates. Experts below the void god level couldn't even fight back against the child demigod. Kill! The skeletal division leader controlled the ghost corpse cursed array and was like a meat reaper. There was nothing that could stop it. Although the ghost ship wasn't very big, it was extremely agile. The pirates were all scared out of their wits. 2 half-step kings led a group of powerful warriors and tried to kill the owner of the array. However, after entering the ghost corpse's formation, not a single one of them survived. All of them became nourishment for the ghost corpse's formation. The situation below caused the expression of the steel-armored pirate king, who was fighting in the sky, to change drastically. He couldn't help but frown. He had heard that a new pirate king had joined the ranks of the Cold Moon King. However, his divine sense had scanned the enemy's ships, and there were no void god realm kings. Thunderwing's wind flash. A bolt of lightning flashed through the sea of mist like a bolt of lightning. So fast, the metallic turtle king's face turned cold. In the blink of an eye, the owner of the lightning wings had arrived. Scarlet Destruction Wind Thunder. As Zhao Feng flew, he summoned a Scarlet Destruction Whirlwind with a diameter of 300 meters and charged into the domain space around the metallic turtle king. The metallic turtle king's domain was a dark area filled with steel. Bang! Bang! Ding! All the attacks that entered the metallic turtle king's spatial domain seemed to be blocked by a giant steel city. Boom! The steel turtle king's body was pushed back a few dozen meters under the bombardment of the Scarlet Destruction Whirlwind. Sparks flew everywhere on the surface of his armor. What strong defense! As expected of the metallic turtle king, Zhao Feng couldn't help but be moved. The Scarlet Destruction Whirlwind was enough to severely injure normal kings, but didn't do any damage to the metallic turtle king. Golden Ring Domain. Countless golden rings formed a domain around the golden-haired male. The golden rings were bright and forceful as they slashed and slammed into the metallic turtle king's domain, but they gave off a series of clanging sounds. Let's try my illusion maze domain. Zhao Feng's heart moved. The metallic turtle king's defense was strong, so he could use it as a whetstone. Wang, Zhao Feng's king intent suddenly moved. In the next instant, a layer of hazy mist, the illusion of the illusory city labyrinth, merged into the void of this world. Because it was a sole Dao domain, the domains of the other two kings didn't affect Zhao Feng's illusion maze domain much. The metallic turtle king's mind shook, and he found himself in the illusion maze surrounded by mist. Instantly, he couldn't even see the attacks from the golden-haired male and Zhao Feng clearly. The illusion maze domain affected his senses. It's a rare soul Dao spiritual domain. The golden-haired male was slightly surprised, but he didn't show any mercy. Trap! Dense golden rings of lightning and arcs of light trapped the metallic turtle king within the golden-haired male's spatial domain. Under normal circumstances, it would be very difficult for him to trap the metallic turtle king. However, he had the help of Zhao Feng's illusion maze domain. Shua! Zhao Feng soon put away the illusion maze domain and condensed a scarlet destruction blade in his hand, which radiated a scorching aura as it slashed toward the metallic turtle king's head. Pung! Boom! The metallic turtle king screamed as a faint crack appeared on the armor on his head. The scorching power of the scarlet destruction wind lightning seeped into his body under the armor. At the same time, the golden-haired male circulated the golden rings of light, which created sharp blades that surrounded the metallic turtle king and sliced at him. The metallic turtle king was instantly forced into a passive position. Luckily, Zhao Feng's illusion maze domain only lasted for a breath or two before quickly withdrawing. Break! The metallic turtle king roared as his domain created countless cracks that shook off the golden-haired male's restraints. Zhao Feng's wings of wind and lightning flashed as he dodged the spatial domain's backlash. The golden-haired male was pushed back. He didn't understand why Zhao Feng didn't continue to use the illusion maze domain. Zhao Feng remained calm as he formed a scarlet destruction tornado in his hand. A wisp of immortal tribulation lightning aura appeared at the center of the tornado. Go! The scarlet destruction whirlwind was able to sneak into the metallic turtle king's spatial domain when it was in a deficit. The metallic turtle king let out a breath as he broke free. He didn't put the scarlet destruction tornado in his eyes. Bam! The scarlet destruction whirlwind entered through the gap and quickly exploded, producing a tribulation aura that was slightly different from before. What? Arg! The metallic turtle king's body shook as his domain started to shatter. The aura of tribulation lightning seeped into his body and started to burn. In an instant, the metallic turtle king's face was as white as paper, and his eyes looked at Zhao Feng in disbelief. A trace of blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth. The golden-haired male also paused. Zhao Feng's attack just now had severely injured the metallic turtle king. The metallic turtle king's defense was one of the strongest amongst the 18 Corners pirate kings. In the past, a domain-level king and 3 normal kings hadn't been able to severely injure him. The golden-haired male didn't know this. The reason why Zhao Feng's attack had been able to severely injure the metallic turtle king was because he had found an opening. The true core was the intent of tribulation lightning at the center of the scarlet destruction wind lightning. Even though it was just a wisp of tribulation lightning, it made the power of Zhao Feng's scarlet destruction wind lightning rise to another level. Not bad. Zhao Feng nodded his head. To deal with the Iron Turtle King, he first tried the illusion maze domain and the thunder tribulation power. If he kept using the illusion maze domain, the metallic turtle king would probably be killed. The power of the intent of tribulation lightning was also shocking. If it wasn't for the fact that the opponent was the metallic turtle king, who specialized in defense, normal kings wouldn't be able to survive that attack. Metallic turtle king, to think that you would have such a day. The golden-haired male didn't think too much and unleashed his domain to chase after the metallic turtle king. Zhao Feng also unleashed his wings of wind and lightning and started to attack the metallic turtle king. The metallic turtle king was forced to retreat, and he immediately gave the order to retreat. While retreating, The metallic Turtle King was wary of Zhao Feng's attacks and focused on defending. However, Zhao Feng didn't merge any more intent into the intent of Tribulation Lightning, nor did he use the illusion maze domain. Bam! Bam! Zhao Feng unleashed his wings of wind and lightning and chased after the metallic Turtle King. Scarlet Destruction, Wind Lightning. Zhao Feng punched out, and a layer of wind and lightning appeared in the air. One could faintly see the outline of a dimension of wind and lightning. What? He has the outline of a second domain? The golden-haired male and the metallic Turtle King were both shocked. Just now, Zhao Feng had already unleashed a complete soul, Dao domain. And now, the outline of the wind-lightning domain appeared in his attacks. The wind-lightning domain can only form a blurry outline, and it can only increase my battle power by 10%. Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. At the current stage, his focus was on forming the wind-lightning domain and using the metallic Turtle King as a sharpening tool. If I can form two domains and stack them together, normal domain-level kings won't even be able to fight back. Zhao Feng was excited. However, right now, he could only form the illusion maze domain. The wind-lightning domain didn't have a foundation, so it was slower. Zhao Feng estimated that it would take at least a few months to form it. This was already an incredible speed for normal kings. One had to know that normal kings would be stuck at a bottleneck for hundreds of years if they lacked any one of these factors, and they could only form the outline of a spatial domain. Run! The metallic Turtle King gave a deep glance at Zhao Feng and gave the order to retreat. He could tell that Zhao Feng was using him as a whetstone. This Zhao Feng is holding back. The golden-haired male was slightly unhappy as he chased, and his eyebrows furrowed. If Zhao Feng was more serious, he might be able to trap and kill the metallic Turtle King. The two chased after the metallic Turtle King, causing him to cry out in pain. During this process, Zhao Feng tried out some wind-lightning techniques and perfected his wind-lightning domain. At the same time, the battle below was also one-sided. The Ghost Corps ship slaughtered everything in its path and devoured the energy of many pirates. Great! A few Ghost Corpses have already reached the middle stages of the small Origin Core realm. The Skeletal Division leader witnessed the growth of these Ghost Corpses. There was no longer any suspense in the battle. Through the battle, the child demigod's bloodline had recovered quite a bit. Just as the golden-haired male and Zhao Feng were chasing after the metallic Turtle King. Sirs, bad news. The Cold Moon King has been attacked by the Dark Dragon King's fleet. A streak of azure light flew over. Dark Dragon King. The golden-haired male's expression changed dramatically, and he stopped chasing after the metallic Turtle King. The metallic Turtle King was heavily injured and wouldn't be able to recover in a short amount of time, so he wasn't much of a threat. Zhao Feng was slightly regretful as he looked at the metallic Turtle King running away. Although he hadn't used his full strength yet, he wanted to slowly wear out the metallic Turtle King and kill him with the sky locking bow at the critical moment. Zhao Feng will go and save the Cold Moon King. Please treat the following battle seriously. The golden-haired male said in a solemn tone. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.